Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. We're here to start the show for this Friday night Smackdown evening. We're here for episode 69, and yes, as you hear, it's the Stampede time. Vash, it has returned for a Friday night Smackdown, and you heard it here. We're on episode 69. Do it as you will, think of it as you will, because we have Grappling with the Week as always to start off the show. We have what we've been consuming and watching. Any breaking news, any contracts, any documents as a job. Have you been watching? What have you been thinking? And we had a returning for next week on Friday Night SmackDown. The phenomenal one. Are you guys happy about this? For the start of our show and discussion, the headline story is the bloodline story of Cody and Roman team up. But then somebody kind of was salty about this. Do you agree where he's coming from? Our boy KO versus Soto Sikoa and Jacob Fatu for the main event. Great match. But then we have, for the mid-card stories, we have the women's title normal contender match of Naomi versus Bayley. They really cook. But then we had Part 6 of Andrade versus Carmelo Hayes. We had a little scuffle in the back, but then it lead up to, I love how each one continued to have a different ending. Beautiful timing for that. And then we have Michin versus Pipe and Niven. That match was something. We will discuss how it was or not. But don't forget to let us know your guys' thoughts about the match itself and what has been going on. Other than that, if you have enjoyed SmackDown, if you have enjoyed for Weebs of the Ring episode 69, like the video and let us start the fucking show, and let's go for Fight Night.
No, Fight Night. Fight Night has arose, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the Weebs of the Ring podcast. Hopefully you guys have had a good week. I know I've had a very mentally straining week, and I know Vash has had a very physically draining week, and Drop is, I think he's had the most normal week from all of us, but hey, that's neither here nor there. Welcome everybody. If you're old in the chat, hey, hopefully you enjoy your retirement home here at the Weebs of the Ring podcast with the AniMa Weebs studio. But if you're new here, if you're a young buck, if you will, well, who are we exactly? Well, with anime in our souls and thoughts of wrestling out of control, we are a trio of weebs who love the entertainment of professional wrestling. So, allow us to be the voices inside of your head as we go through the wrestling event of the evening, give our thoughts and predictions on what's to come, and provide an experience inclusive to all nerds out there. So, be sure to grab your steel chair, yell for the table, and get put through an experience unlike any other. Again, we are brought to you by AniMa Weebs Studio, and this is the Weebs of the Ring podcast. I, of course, am one of your co-hosts, your world champion Hawkins. Don't worry, I am not in my heel mode tonight. I am full-on babyface mode because it's Friday night. We had SmackDown, and I love me some SmackDown. But as always, I am joined on my right shoulder by the legend himself, Vash. Vash, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Man, it's good to be returning, to be back here for Friday Night SmackDown. Like our boy Michael Cole said, it's Fight Night. Like our boy Sheamus, who used to be on. It's great to be here. Yours truly, Legendary Vash, the visionary. Like I said it this past Monday, I do want to say, put the fries in the bag, but instead put the fries to the wall, because that's what our boy Carmelo Hayes did, where he threw LA Knight against the crates to the backstage. Love it. This has been one of my favorite things been going on week to week over the past 3 months since Money in the Bank in the first week of July. So I love how things has been different week to week with their matches of part 1, 2, part 6. Can't wait for the next part 7 and just going for the triple threat. Things going on to speculate. So it's good to be back. And by the way, I can't wait to say it and talk about it again, even though they didn't repeat the package for tonight's SmackDown. They did show on Monday Night Raw from last week. It was cinema. The Cody and Roman segment that they had at the stadium and everything, that shit was cinema.
Cinema it was, and hopefully you guys can go to the cinema this weekend for some good movies that are coming out.
Transformers
and good
1.
movies coming out next weekend. exactly, Transformers 1, Wild Robot I think came out this
Yeah, it did.
weekend.
I think it
Yeah,
did.
so that looks pretty good. So definitely go check it out. But also joining us tonight on my left shoulder, he is the genius of the ring, dropping all those knowledges for you. We got Drop This Box. Drop, how you doing tonight?
Doing pretty good. I'll say
Ooh.
that.
Oh yeah, and don't worry, we'll have plenty to say here. But again, chat, I want you right now, chat. I need you right now, guys, ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls out there, because we're about to grapple with the week, and I want to know just exactly how did you grapple with the week? Did you put it in an ankle lock? Did you do an F5 to it? Did you do a power bomb, or did you allow the week to kind of put you down and make you count all the lights up in the ceiling? Because we're about to grapple with the week ourselves. This is the segment where we talk about everything that happened in the week, whether it was good, bad, mediocre at best, who knows, but it's all to do with wrestling. And we had some things going on this week. I am going to preface this by saying we do plan on talking about the Mr. McMahon documentary series that came out, but stay tuned for that because the whole team needs to watch the docuseries, and we're gonna have some discussions with that one. Let me
Send
tell you
questions
that much.
if you guys have actual questions to us or topics that you guys want us to run down. Please send a hashtag Weebs of the Ring, and let us know if you guys have any questions on Twitter, social media, or send us through a DM. So if you guys want us to hit up on any topic, because I know we don't always have this type of discussion because of timing. So this is a video / possible stream that we haven't done any concrete type of decision. So please let us know if you guys have any type of questions for us to have any type of beforehand. Would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm starting to aim towards a stream because I'm starting to think, considering there's a lot to cover there, and you also have an audience that we could interact with, like you said, at the same time. I feel like it works better as a stream.
Yeah. So, but definitely stay tuned for that because that's going to be coming here in the next few days or so.
Yeah.
Because I'm itching to talk about it. I'm itching to talk about it a little bit. Because there's a lot to say. There's a lot to say. But yeah, so we'll get to that when we get to it. But we're gonna start off first with a good old talk here in our contract corner, because some contract news came out just in the past couple days. We're gonna start first with Malachi Black, because apparently his contract with AEW ends early 2025, and I'm hoping he leaves AEW and comes back to WWE. I mean, House of Black, they do good work in AEW. The only downside is just like Malachi Black just does nothing in there, especially as a single star.
Yeah.
But Drop, I think you have a little bit more to say about this as well.
Yeah, because like Watkins said, he's been doing pretty well with the House of Black. But one of the things that we really wanted to see when Malachi had that second chance when he went over to AEW was to have a chance to really rise as a single star, because we've seen many factions before in the past that are still together, but you also have one of the guys going out there doing things for themselves, and that was something that I personally wanted to see from Malachi, but he hasn't really had that opportunity to really go out there and do anything like that. And I am assuming he probably feels the same way, considering just like looking at like the body language he's showing, and it almost seems to me that he's just waiting for the contract to expire, kind of like how Andrade did. Because when I talk about the big three from AEW that came over from WWE, I think of Miro, Andrade, and Malachi. And the three in the I'm not really sure what's going on with Miro, but when it comes to Malachi, like I just feel like when he left obviously we knew what those reasons were because of a particular person not really utilizing their talent to the fullest, but knowing how he has
Yeah.
somebody there that actually was bringing him to be a top guy when he was in NXT and he came over to the main roster and anything, I could definitely see how he sees, okay, the climate's different over here now. Everything's different. I'm going to be able to have those opportunities that I wasn't able to do before. And I can
Yeah.
definitely see him coming back. It says early 2025. So more than likely that's like the 1st of January. So
Mhm.
I can definitely see him appearing in like the Royal Rumble if he does make a return. Like, there's
Yeah.
no, I mean, could he sign back? Sure, but at the same time, if I'm him, why? Because nothing's really being done with him, so I would assume he would probably want to go back and get that fresh start again. Because I mean, things are working pretty well with Andrade, so I would
Yeah.
assume he would probably get that same treatment. So I definitely expect him to come back to the company. I mean, I'm hoping he was. I'm hoping he does because I would
Mhm.
absolutely love to see that entrance again he used to have, as well as the
Oh,
theme
same
music.
here. Yeah, and like that's the interesting thing about Malachi, because like with especially when I'm glad you brought up like Miro and Andrade, because like these three are so different with how they've been treated and how they kind of treat AEW too, especially
Mhm.
like near the end of their contracts. Because it's like with Andrade, he wanted out, like he wanted out like way before his contract was ending, you know. And like there were reports of him actively saying, "Hey, I want out of here." And then like you look at Miro's part, and it's just like, with like the storylines that they tried with him and all that, like they really weren't working out at all. And then he just kind of stopped doing anything. So, and you don't hear a lot of reports of him like being like, "Oh, I want out," until like I think just recently, like a couple weeks ago, something came out with it. But with Malachi, he always seems like a company guy. Like he's not gonna try to stir the pot a lot, but you can tell, like you were saying, Drop. Like you can tell when he's just not feeling it, when he's just wanting to get out and all that. And yeah, I feel like he's been like that for a while now with AEW. At least whenever I get the chance to, catch the shows and all that. Um, so I'm hoping he leaves, and I'm hoping it's not a case like what we're about to talk about with another person.
Yeah, I have.
But before, yeah, oh yeah, there's gonna be some thoughts about that one, but I want to turn it over to you real quick, Vash. How do you feel about Malachi Black possibly coming back to the Federation?
So for my comments will be super quick because I don't know shit about Monica Black other than the clips I've seen throughout the years. Like one of the famous clips that's been shown around, passed around for many years is the one where he does the flip with Ricochet, and I believe, damn, what was the third person? They did a flip to get in the ring, and they all sat straight of each other, in cross
Oh
knees.
yeah.
I forgot who that was with. I forgot it was with Ricochet, Malika Black, and I believe it was Jack Perry, or
Well, not no, because I think this was in WWE,
Adam
but I know
Cole.
what you're
Yeah,
talking
I believe it
about.
was Adam Cole. No, I believe it was Adam Cole. It was somebody. I can't remember the third
Maybe.
person on top of my head.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's one of the clips I know. I'm aware that he's also married to Zelina Vega. I know that he was a popular guy in the Black and Gold days. Again, I missed those, so I can't really add too
Mhm.
much context other than my hypeness. I know that he was really good in House of Black back when I used to watch AEW in a consistent basis back in 2020 to like 2022, so that I know House of Black
Yeah.
was very good. However, I have heard throughout the past year House of Black hasn't been used very well in the booking side. Again, we have spoken on this on a dead repeat, so if you haven't been to our shows before, if you're new, we do talk about AEW, the good and the flaws. So we have an open mind. So don't come here saying that we will talk shit here about AEW all the time. No, we don't. But we are very honest about it. And if House of Black is not being used, if Vanilla Black is not being used to his full extent, then go somewhere where you want to be good, use that. And like, I believe Ethan Page, a big shout out to Chris Van Vile, where he had a podcast with him to
Mhm.
be interviewed. Ethan Page, no, I believe it was Sean Spears, I believe it was. My apologies. Sean Spears,
Okay.
once he was released with AEW, the first thing he did was call Triple H and let him know that, hey, this is happening. What's the possibility and how can I contribute? To me, the way he
Yeah.
spoke to Triple H, like, I love how he spoke to it. It was like, hey, can I get my job back or can I go work in there? Instead of like, hey, I would love to work there. How can I help you guys? How can I help the company to continue thriving? Like, how can I tribute? I feel like that's a great way to let them know, like, hey, I'm open, I'm available. How can I add my type of skill set to you and your vision? So I feel like that's a great opportunity for Malachi Black that if he hasn't reached out yet, or I love how these wrestlers let us know, the audience, the type of conversation that be happens closed doors, because that to me is a beautiful way to know, like, what was kayfabe or not. So if Malachi Black goes back, to me it's a great opportunity to add more type of heels in that aspect as well for
Yeah.
SmackDown and Raw that are kind of needed, because this is a beautiful time that we have so many baby faces. So I feel like if that actually does happen, it's great.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm gonna throw this question out too. If he does go back to WWE, who would you guys want him to feud with first? And would you rather him be a face or a heel?
Heel for me.
Yeah, Vash, I'm gonna start with you. Yeah.
I would say heel for me, and who I love to see him face. It's hard to say since at the time is right now we're in a weird time where everything's unexpected. Like we just had Jey Uso winning
Hmm.
on a Monday Night Raw, and a lot of people didn't think that was gonna happen. So for that to really give a big type of feud, I have no context from my end since I don't know too much of his history. So I'm gonna pass over to Drop on that aspect. But I would love for him to be a heel in that aspect. So that's the only question I
Okay.
can answer.
Yeah,
All right. Well, what about? Yeah.
I would say it all depends what sort of direction he goes down, because I feel
Mhm.
like money's there for him. It's just the sort of creative direction they want to go down with him. So it's kind of hard for me to say which one I
Mhm.
would want between a face and a heel. It all depends on the creative direction. The only thing I would really want to see is for him to actually have a proper run this time, to actually be treated as a talent that matters rather than being put on the sidelines for the entire game and not being called in at once. Like, I'd rather him
Mhm.
actually be used, people know who he is, for him to get over organically, and for him to actually build him up to be that star that he knows he is, because he always puts on great matches. I mean,
Mhm.
people that watched the Black and Gold days remember a lot of the matches he had when it came to the takeovers or even the regular NXT shows. So I just want a proper showcase for him at the end of the day, because that's one of the things that like really bothers me when I know somebody's super talented, but they end up getting thrown to the curb because
Right.
creative doesn't know what to do with them. And that's just my personal wish when he comes back. So if when he comes back, which I'm confident he will come back to WWE, I feel like he'll
Mhm.
be in the Royal Rumble. So maybe that would be a good way for us to get a idea of the potential feud he gets in. Maybe depending
Mhm.
on who he comes in contact with comes in contact with within the Royal Rumble, maybe that could lead us down and be like, okay, now we know what he's doing.
Right.
So
Okay. Yeah. And I guess just to throw my little 2 cents in there, between heel and face, really don't know. I think I'm kind of in the same boat as you, Drop. It's just like it depends on the writing and depends on where they want to go creatively with him. But I mean, with that being said, honestly, first feud, because I think timing wise, I think he'll be done with the feud that he's currently in. Put him up against Finn Balor. Give me that. Like they could work some magic not only in the ring but on the mic.
They will
that'd be
Like
cook. They
that.
will cook well.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
oh, oh he
That would
actually
be.
tonight. Malachi Black and Buddy Matthews versus Leo Rush and Action on Andrade. Probably butchered that. And that was on Rampage,
Uh,
which again, nobody watches
would
Rampage.
which is getting canceled. Fun fact.
Wait,
Like
what? It's
apparently
getting
that's
canceled?
leaving.
It,
Apparently, yeah. Like
I mean,
well,
in-
canceled, quote unquote,
yeah.
because they're getting so AEW's getting like this new show on Fox, or it's either Fox or FS1. Um, I forgot what the name was because they got like the license
It
for
might have
it or
been.
whatever, or
It
like
might
the
have been
trademarks.
FS1.
What was it?
I think it's FS1. But again,
Yeah.
he shouldn't be on Rampage. I just saw this when I was scrolling on Twitter. Talent like that should not be on
Mhm.
Rampage.
And it's just funny to know
Yeah, no.
that Zelina husband and Rhea Ripley husband going 1-1.
Oh, I know.
yeah.
I love it.
My biggest question
Dude, Buddy
is when he
Matthews
comes-
need to come back.
Oh,
Yeah,
and plus, happy birthday to Buddy Matthews. I believe his birthday was a couple of days ago, so a big shout out to him. Happy birthday. I believe it was
Oh.
Wednesday. I believe it was.
my biggest question is when he comes back, like, what is his boys gonna do? You know, because I know Buddy just
Yeah.
signed a new contract with him, so he's staying. So I'm wondering
Mhm.
what they're gonna do with that.
Yeah. I mean, they could continue it, like the whole House of Black thing, just kind of do their own thing with it. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see with that. But like, so I want to get into this other contract talk. So
This
we've
one
been
pissed me
hearing. Oh my God! Yeah, same here. So like, we've been hearing for like the past 2 weeks or so that the Lucha Bros are going to WWE. You know, there was the whole rumor thing, which I think got I think it got what's the word I'm looking for? Disproven or whatever. About the whole like merchandise thing, because apparently WWE didn't even start yet with the merchandising stuff. But like, again, they'll get the ball rolling eventually with that when they get in there. But yeah, so apparently Ray Fenix's contract is now getting an extension because of injury time, and it's getting like a year extension, which is just crazy bonkers. It's like, why are you doing that? Like, I get, first of all, I get it because of like contracts and all that, and you want to like make sure, you know, because again, your wrestlers are contracted to make so many appearances, make X amount of appearances. I get that, I understand that, but like, you got to kind of put it into perspective with like the talent too, because it's like, if they want to go somewhere, if they want to do something else, then just let them. Like, and that's the thing, like TK's done that before with talent. Like, he's let them go, even though like they could have had like the injury time tacked off at the end of their contract. But it's like, now you're doing this with Ray Fenix, and that Pento wants to go too. Like, they want to go at the same time and enter at the same time with WWE. It's like, come on, man. Like, you're being everything that people have fought WWE about in the past. Like, holding people on their contracts, keeping them in and signing them just to like make sure they don't go to the other side. And it's bad. It's bad. You know, because it's bad for business. Because now what you're gonna do is like, you're gonna have them put people over, and it's kind of gonna make their stock go down because they're gonna be there for a whole year, and they're gonna be losing whenever they're on TV, if they're ever on TV, on that matter. Because like, we even know that like people who are even contracted in AEW just aren't showing up. Look at Miro. Like, Miro's been under contract for how long? He's still under contract,
Yeah,
and he's
Ricky.
not doing anything.
Ricky too.
Yeah, Ricky too, you know. And I mean, I just found out about Wardlow. Apparently, he has a knee injury, so at least he has like a legitimate excuse. But it's like, what are we doing? What are you doing over there, TK? Like, and it's funny. It's funny the Vince documentary came out, because I forgot who said it in there. So, you know, it's not really too much of a spoiler, but it's like, somebody made a comment about being a nice guy, and it's just like, oh, this person's a nice guy. They weren't talking about TK or anything. They were just like, oh, this person's a nice guy, but you can't be a nice guy and be a boss in a wrestling atmosphere, because people are going to walk all over you and take advantage of you. And when that person said that, the first thing I thought of was TK, and I know people are gonna give me shit for this, but I thought of TK and fucking Mercedes money, because it's like, she's like, okay, I get access to your jet, I get to take time off if I want to do Hollywood shit. Like, and like she has creative control and all that. And it's just like, okay, that's gonna be a good example of somebody that's gonna be taking you over, TK. You can look at Chris Jericho too for all that.
Like, for example, even
it bothers me. Yeah.
MJF just got casted as well on a movie, or just got announced that he was casted, because that's why he was gone for a couple months. So a lot of people just like, oh, so that's why he's gone for a couple months. Like, yeah, makes sense. He was casted, by the way, congrats to him. He's casted with Bad Bunny and a few other people. I don't have the news report of.
Yeah, it's Happy Gilmore too.
Yeah, it's Happy Gilmore. Thank you very much. Drop. So it was pretty cool to see that. Congrats to MJF. He's putting the work.
Yeah.
It shows that Tony Khan knows how to balance, but I feel like he plays favoritism, which is not healthy in a work environment when you have 100 or so staff members. Like, it's not healthy when you do that in favoritism. You gotta have a worker's mind or like a business type of leadership. And Tony Khan, you're just failing at that.
Yeah, and to chime in and give like my 2 cents on this as well. Just like Watkins, because I pretty much have the exact same thought process as him. I'm not really a big fan of this. And one of the issues I really have when it comes to this sort of thing is the fact that you have talent on here, not even on television. So why does it matter if you just let them go? Because you're signing all of these other people, you're giving them screen time, you have your favorites. It's very apparent. It's very apparent from what we see on weekly television. So it's like you have these other guys in the back of the barn just sitting there and doing nothing. Why not let them go? Their contracts are up. They've been very vocal where they want to go when it comes to Ray Phoenix and Penta. So it's like, just let the brothers walk together, because that's what they want to do. They had specific requests when it came to going to WWE that's been brought up online. They want to go to WWE. They want to head up to the main roster.
Yep.
And I believe we also heard reports about even merchandise being made as well and all that stuff. But so it's like they had a game plan set because they wanted to go somewhere else and do something different, which everybody is open to do that. That's why I never understood the mindset. It's like, oh, I'm going to start liking this certain person because they go to this different company. If you're a fan of that person, follow them on their journey, regardless what company they're in. But when it comes to them going there, just let them doing it. You're not using them. Let them go. Miro's not there. You're not using him. Let him go. Yeah. Yeah, we saw Malachi and Buddy Matthews on Rampage, and I didn't watch it, but I saw the report online, all the news results. But when it comes to people that you're not really using as much, just let them go. So, if they're not happy, let them go. So I don't understand. I think I know what it is, and everybody else probably knows what it is. I think the real reason he just doesn't want WWE getting close to them. That's why he's adding on the injury time. Any ordinary person that would be in this situation would be like, you know what? I want the best for them. Thank you for doing all you did in this company. And then let them go.
And he's done that before in the past. So, that's what I don't get about it.
Beautiful transition for what we're discussing, because somebody also just got announced that he's there. For anybody that went to Grand Slam this past Wednesday at New York, Queens here. I didn't go. I chose not to go because the tickets was like $100, $200 for like first level, which I'm like, yo, you guys are not gonna get me to pay $200 for almost the first level, and you guys are not even making the sales for this. Fuck no. But MVP got in. MVP got into AEW. He was there on Grand Slam and everything. So I want to know, how do you guys feel about this? For me, my quick thoughts about this MVP introduction. He has the presence. He knows how to introduce himself. He knows how to walk. He knows how to give the skit of what he's been doing already for the past 20 plus years. Would I say that am I excited for this? I'm really curious about it because the way he introduced himself and said that he would love to talk business with Swerve and what he has been doing for the company of AEW, which is pretty cool. The question is Bobby Lashley going to be coming next to AEW, since we also know that he's a free agent? So if these things happen, depending on how it's executed is where it depends. That's how it will. That's how it will. It will dictate towards my feelings of how is this good or bad. Right now, I'm curious. I'm being optimistic. Vash is being optimistic as usual. That's what I would say, because at the end of the day, it's like, where are we gonna go with MVP? Cool, you got the money, Tony. You got MVP here, but what can you bring to the business with MVP being here? At the end of the day, if you don't use them, then it feels pointless, and that's the worst part.
Yeah, because I
And
know the
that's
main
just
reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know the
Okay.
main reason why he's going there is because he wants to. He wants to use the Hurt Syndicate, which is what they're calling it now. He actually wants to bring them back and actually do something with them, because he feels what they did in WWE wasn't enough. They weren't able to accomplish as much as they wanted, or he saw it in a creative direction that he wanted to see more of it, but unfortunately he wasn't able to do that in WWE. So we're pretty much seeing the setup for that. That's why we see MVP there, and then down the line, the payoff is more than likely, oh, hey, look, it's Bobby Lashley. You know, he's all elite. And you could potentially see a match between him and Swerve down the line, or whatever sort of direction that they're trying to do. I just want to see how it's used. One of my biggest issues is that it's something that's hot, and then it dies off, and we're right back to something else again.
Agree.
Because a good example of this, just to touch on it briefly, we had that all that heat with Hangman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland, and Swerve has a legitimate excuse why he's not there because of what happened in the match, and you could have took that momentum with Page and do something with it. I mean, I heard a lot of because I heard a lot of people saying, "Oh shit, it would be cool." Like, instead of this whole Moxley thing, I mean, the Moxley thing's cool for what it's doing right now. But let's say hypothetically that wasn't a thing. People are saying, "Oh, you could have used that momentum to really have him go after Danielson, take the title. He can have it until All In next year. It's in his hometown, and then you can run back him and Swerve again, and you could actually see, you know, Swerve work his way up to the mountain again, and eventually come across the final boss again." But now we're seeing it with Jeff Jarrett. Yes, they have history, but at the same time, it's like you're taking something that's hot and you're putting it on the back burner and you're not touching it. So I'm hoping if he does something with MVP and the Hurt Syndicate, I'm hoping he stays through with it, because you have somebody like Powerhouse Hobbs that would be absolutely perfect to be put in a faction like this. Because imagine you have like Bobby Lashley, Powerhouse Hobbs, you got Sheldon Benjamin, and then you got MVP. That would be perfect. Actually make it look like a dominant faction spread throughout Dynamite.
That's a syndicate.
Exactly. Yeah. You make it throughout Dynamite or Collision or however you want to present it. Make it look like a legitimate thing. Don't just be like, okay, we're going to do it for this hot angle at this pay-per-view, and then we're going to go back to something else. Like, actually do something with it.
Yeah, like follow through with it and just capitalize on the heat that you create and make. Because, like, I mean, to bring up with the whole Hangman stuff, it's like, they do have history. There is a story there. Yeah, but it's like, it's not really much of one. It's not really one that's, like, really going to build up Hangman and Page even more. You know, I mean, it's kind of, especially with Jeff Jarrett, who's like, I mean, he was kind of he was a heel, you know, before all this, you know, and like, I guess you could say that, you know, the Owen Hart tournament turned him into a face because of his promo about Owen Hart and all that, which, you know, I get that. There's sympathy there. I get that. But it's like, there's not much there. You know, he was, Jeff Jarrett's still kind of an asshole, you know, character-wise, that is, you know, not the person. But like, that's just the whole crux of all of this. It's like, you sign these people, you have fun with them for like a month or two, and then you just stop playing with them. And it's like this all the time with TK. I mean, report came out too that he signed Saraya for another year, and it's like, why? Like, she. And then never mind, I don't want to get into that whole topic with like her and other stuff. But it's like,
I think we have Bash or Hash enough of AW.
Have we? I have the Watto Ichimonji here. I got this ready to go at AEW at one point. But like, no. So like, I don't know. It's annoying. It's annoying and all that. But like, I think we can move on from the contract corner because hey, things happen. We'll see where people go. We'll see where they sign up and all that. Did anybody watch AEW this week by chance, or
The only stuff that I
hear anything
mentioned,
fun?
the only stuff I mentioned about MVP and what happened on
Mhm.
Wednesday, that's the highlights of it. We're gonna be getting Ricochet versus what's his face at Wrestle Dream, I think.
Will Ospreay.
Yeah, well, Osprey already.
Yeah.
Like this man Tony couldn't fucking win. He's like, oh, I got these guys. I'm gonna book them already
See,
so fast. So phone.
that,
I'm
that
like,
that's
my God, like you couldn't build up. Like we had CM Punk and Drew McIntyre build up for almost 6
yeah.
damn months,
See,
week to week before we even got the match. Yes, we had CM Punk injured. Yes, we have Drew going on with the movie. We have many things going on at the time. But guess what? They made it work, the story and everything week to
Mhm.
week. And Tony, you just couldn't have
yeah,
the patience for it. You couldn't blue balls the audience. You literally just said, "Hey guys, I'm gonna
yeah.
feed you a full course meal already, boy."
No, and just to chime in on that, just to say something because I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting Batch to actually bring up Ricochet. My biggest my biggest question for that is that was pretty much the only reason why people, for the most part, I would assume, when it comes to their initial reaction of Ricochet coming to AEW, is because of that match. So
Mhm.
my question next is, what's next for Ricochet? Because that's pretty much like the peak of what people wanted to see. How do you capitalize on that? How do you make him do more things
I would
beyond
love
that?
to see Ricochet versus Darby.
What I'm
Yeah,
hoping
that would be fun.
personally that comes out of that is there's
If Darby's
actually
alive,
is there an actual built-in story with Will
Mhm.
Ospreay and Ricochet and AEW? Like maybe you can make a story out of that because there's some stuff going on with the Callis family, and we know that Kyle Fletcher could be turning on Will Ospreay. Why not? Let's say hypothetical. Come up with a quick scenario. They have their match, banger, yada yada this yada that. Let's hypothetically Kyle's family comes out. They start beating about Ospreay or something. Ricochet comes in for the save. You could build them as a tag team, work that up again, and then you could eventually just flesh out the
Mhm.
relationship, build a story behind it. That's something I want to see. Like Ricochet came here for new
Yeah.
opportunities. Do something that benefits him. Do something that means something.
agreed.
Yeah. Because the way I see it, it's literally like what happened with FTR and the Young Bucks. Because like we had been craving for that tag team match forever, and then we've gotten it what 4 times already in AEW. Which I mean, don't get me wrong, they've been bangers, but it's
Yeah.
like I'm sorry. By the 4th time, I was just like, wait, we're doing this again?
Mm.
I still haven't
Like
gotten tired of seeing
whatever.
Carmelo versus Andrade, and that's 6 times,
I
and they
haven't
cooking it
either.
every time. So it's like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
It's not the wrestlers, it's the story. Story matters. Triple
Yeah.
H is probably hitting something. Not saying that the wrestling is not the most important in the match, but the story is what involves, is what draws the audience, is what if you watch the Vince documentary, people knows about the kayfabe, about the heel, about the baby face. All those things are actually something important when it comes to the wrestling aspect.
Yeah. But speaking of stories, just kind of transition away from another company. NXT. Anybody catch Chef Sean and what he
I did.
had to cook on Tuesday?
Yes,
I
I did.
I'm gonna pass it over to Drum. I did not get to watch this week, and I haven't seen the rerun or the recap, so I'll be watching that this weekend. So, but I know that me and Drum will most likely be doing a side cast that Tuesday night for the
Yeah.
premiere of the CW. So stay tuned, audience. Please check out our twitch.tv/AniMa Studio for the Chicago week, and the final week is Illinois. So we will definitely be doing a side cast for those two.
Yes, I did. Um, yeah, so I ended up checking out NXT this week. This was the go home show for the CW premiere next week. It's pretty much their big shebang to like celebrate their new home and everything. And
Mm.
what we got mostly from that show, we got more segments. We got a segment with Tony D. Pretty much they have the whole Rocky 3 story going on with him right now, with him overcoming the obstacle, which is Obafemi. And I know that match is supposed to be taking place on the 8th when they're in St. Louis to see if he could actually defeat Obafemi and possibly become the North American champion. I do believe they're only holding off on that because he's about to break the record soon.
Yeah,
Ar-
10 days. I think
Yeah,
Ooh, okay.
around.
I think now it's
Yeah.
8 days, which I'm kind of
Yeah.
mixed on that because they hype it up last year when Wesley
Yeah.
had the longest title reign. Now
Yeah.
Boba Fett is about to break a year
Mm.
later, but you know,
Yeah.
eh.
But anyways, that's what they were doing with that, and then of course we had the press conferences building up Trick and Ethan Page. We had the big thing that a lot of people were talking about that I do have my own thoughts on, and it's not anything personal. It's just me saying, okay, you're gonna say this. Why didn't you have this for this person? But we had Julia and Roxanne's press conference where they were going back and forth, and it's nice seeing how um forgot his name. I know
Funaki?
he's yeah, Tanaki. I like how she has Tanaki there as like a translator. I know she had like subtitles in her segment too, which was pretty interesting. But I like the whole
Mhm.
press conference there. But the big talking point of that to close out the show, which was pretty awesome, was a VS satellite segment because I do know that Stephanie Vacure has visa issues right now. But we saw Stephanie Vacure making her appearance towards the end of the show, saying, "Okay, you know, after forgot what she said. She said I know she said she says what are you
It was
going to
yeah.
she was gonna
Yeah,
say like
it was
uh she was gonna say what are you gonna do like pretty much saying what are you gonna do after you know the next one up.
mhm.
And I know I've seen Discord, and this is why I brought this up before I started getting into this. I've seen people saying, "Oh, what does she do? What does she do to deserve a shot like this?" Well, first off, nothing's put into motion. We don't know the destination yet. We don't know how it's
Mhm.
going to be building up with this. And also, at the same time, if you're going to be saying all this stuff about Stephanie Vacure, you should have said the exact same thing about Julia when she first came up too,
Mhm.
because you can't
Yeah.
say that, oh, well, I don't like how Stephanie Vacur's coming in here saying, oh, she's going to get a title shot. Whoever comes out on top in that match, if it's Roxanne or Julia, you have to have the exact same criticism for Julia, too, because I love Julia. Julia's great. And this isn't something that's coming out of my mouth. It's what people are saying online. If you're going to say that, you know, why is Stephanie Vacure here? You should say the exact same thing about Julia, because Julia's only had one match in NXT, and then she ended up confronting Roxanne at that pay-per-view,
Mhm.
and she got her match. So Stephanie Vacure hypothetically did that. She had no visa issues. You should have that same energy as you do now. So I
Yeah.
personally do not have any issues with it because we don't know the destination. We don't know how this is going to be structured. Sean obviously has a blueprint that he wants to follow. So you got to wait and
Yeah.
see exactly what happens, because I can't tell you how many times I've seen people make statements like that where it's like, I'm next in line for that title. I want that around my shoulder. That's just a part of the
Mhm.
character. That's just what they say. We don't know how we're going to get there. So I have no issues with it personally.
Yeah.
And I'm
And
just excited
I'm
that she's actually being acknowledged. People are like, okay, you know, because they haven't really announced it
mhm.
like on television, like, hey, you know, I'm Stephanie Becker. We heard about it online, but on
Yeah.
NXT, she's actually coming out there saying, you know, hey, I'm here. So
Yeah. And I think just for me, because like I see the argument with that, but again, like you said, oh, you gotta have the same energy when it comes with Julia with that. But like, I think with me, it's more of just like the aesthetic of it. So it's like, you know, Julia coming in, she's this over the top, or like this is coming from somebody who isn't really too familiar with either of their works. So this is more of just like how I'm seeing them and like just the little I've seen of them as well. So it's like, okay, Julia's coming in, almost kind of like Asuka did, because like she has this big, she's a big star. Like she's got what the kids are saying now, that aura and all that, but whatever. But like Julia comes in, she has this pedigree, she has this way about her that's just like, you know, I'm somebody that should not have a championship, if that makes sense. So it's just like, okay, she, on one hand, she doesn't really have to earn it, because she's coming in, she's a champion. But like with Stephanie Vacquier, when I look at her, it's just like, okay, you're somebody I could see like doing the grind, getting to that spot, and I'm hoping that's where like Sean's kind of doing with this, where it's like, yeah, she says, oh, I'm gonna be next, but it's
Yeah.
more of like a I'm gonna build myself up to be next kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I also feel like if her coming in there, since this is like a new era for them, they need to start making statements of who is the top girls on that brand, because some of these girls next year are being called up whenever they do their yearly drafts. So you got to make a statement, be like, okay, Julia, I'm a main eventer in NXT. Roxanne, I'm a main eventer in NXT. Stephanie Vacquier, I'm a main eventer in NXT. You got to let the audience know who these top girls are in the brand. So I can't really blame her for coming out and saying that, so people can get familiar and be like, okay, I know this girl is legit. I know if there's any main event programs going on NXT, I know she's going to be one of the contenders there. So I don't really blame her for saying anything like that.
And plus, to add that, we can't even forget that not even after a day of the draft, Carmelo Hayes got drafted from NXT to Friday Night SmackDown, and he shot his shot to Cody Rhodes like, hey, I'm gonna shoot where I shoot, and how about you, Cody? Let's go right now in the ring tonight for the main event, and that's what he did. Carmelo Hayes went main event with Cody Rhodes. Even the first night after the draft, he literally said, I got my job for the main roster. Yo, Cody, I know you're the guy. Let me beat your ass so I could become the next guy already. So why you getting mad when Stephanie does it or when Gilia does it, but then Carmelo, everyone was mad. I have like, yo, look at him. He got the balls. He got the bars. He got the fries in the bag. He did what he could do. But guess what? He missed his shot.
Exactly. So it's all about statements nowadays. So I'm glad you brought that up.
And like that's the thing. It's like and this is no disrespect to any of the other women on the NXT locker room, but the money match is Stephanie Vacquier versus Julia. Like that is the big money match there. So it's just like I don't want them to like speed through it. Like I don't want them to like give it to us unless the story is it's like, okay, Stephanie comes in, loses to Julia, and then she kind of builds herself back up in order to beat Julia, like that. That could be the story right there. But like you said, time will tell with that. Chef Michael's got to cook and all that. But were there any other standouts from NXT and all that?
I actually do want to say something since you brought up Sean.
Oh yeah,
because a very important report actually came out today when it comes to NXT. Because I know, I don't know if he was interviewed or something, but I remember him making a statement. I'm trying to find where it is. I do remember him saying, "Damn it." Okay.
I know. I heard that there while you're looking at. Oh, you found it. Okay, good.
Yeah, so Shawn Michaels says that NXT on CW will have some big changes. Currently, we want to make a big splash on the CW network. We'll have some big changes, but I think more of that will be from a look and physical standpoint. We will still be what NXT is, which is bringing some of the most talented, young, diverse athletes in all of the nation, and developing them into the WWE superstars of tomorrow. The hunger, the passion. It's always been the core value of NXT, and it's always going to be there. But certainly we'll try to put on some pretty cool bells and whistles for the CW launch on October 1st.
I would say well said. Yeah. He knows how to promote it. And I remember back when it was promoted, I think earlier this year when Triple H announced the Netflix and everything going on. And also when Sean announced the move to CW, I know that they was going to board meetings showing their ideas of what type of marketing they was going to do. So I'm really hyped for what type of projects and storyline that list this last quarter. Because for anybody that's unaware, the last quarter means October, November, December. The last 3 months of what this product of NXT could produce on the CW network. So I'm really curious for this, and it'll be the first time I'm watching CW since fucking Arrow and Supergirl and the CW universe. That's what I'm gonna say for anybody that gets that reference. Oh damn! It's been for fucking like 5 years, like 2019, since the show's ended. Oh damn!
Ooh. Damn. Yeah. No. I agree with what you just did right there. Yeah, no, I had heard something today actually about NXT kind of getting a new look, like
Pretty cool.
changing a few of their aesthetics, kind of like what happened with SmackDown when it went back to USA, how
Yeah.
they got the new logo, the new look, and all that. So like, I think they're gonna try to make things a little more
I want them to
not
change the
universal, but
belts. Like,
yeah.
I don't want the little color splash in the belts. I kind of want them to do away with that.
Hmm. Yeah, so hopefully, I mean, that might be part of it too. Like, because I mean, we know that the main event is for the NXT title next week, so it's
Mhm.
like there could be a new belt that gets introduced, for the
Yeah.
winner of that. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. But like, yeah, so it sounds like NXT's cooking a little bit. Again, we might do a little bit of a side cast next week and the week after with the new show and aesthetics and all that, but we'll have to wait and see with all that. Our last little bit here with Grappling with the Week we're going to mention actually happened tonight on SmackDown. We had a little teaser package, a little snippet of a certain phenomenal star coming back to the blue brand. That's right. Good old AJ Styles is coming back next week.
If
to
anybody's
SmackDown.
unaware, if anybody's listening to the audio side, our boy Watkins is showing his nice blue phenomenal shirt. My shirt is actually just Android 18, but still, his shirt is a phenomenal one. Like our boy,
Don't worry.
Monday was yeeting for our boy Jay, so today he's been phenomenal. So it is.
Don't worry, I'll wash it before next week.
It's
And wear it again.
he's like, I gotta get prepared again for round 2 for next Friday. I will say this.
I'll bust out the gloves too.
I will say that as a regular fan of the Phenomenal One, because I did not really see his rise in the SmackDown live shows in the house he built. Great promo package as well for New Evil, I think the song is, or something like that. It was. Forgot what the song
Yeah.
name.
What was the name of the song again? Drop.
Evil Ways. AJ Styles return video was
Yeah,
with
that's it.
Evil
Yep.
Ways. A big shout
Oh,
out
brain fart.
to Discord. So I have it pulled up here on my laptop, so that's why I have it here. Pretty cool. Video package, great editing. It shows a phenomenal one returning. What's funny is that we have asked ourselves for the past couple weeks, I think, on the show, asking, hey, what is he returning? There was also news report that it was him and Shinsuke Nakamura that are good to return. It's just they're not being used until story bits was gonna be happening. So it's really interesting to hear that and see that one of them actually is returning next week, and they have a video package for him. At least we know it's gonna be better than somebody who had a 4-week process to have a video package. Albo Vinci, where he got folded in 3 seconds, where Alba Phenomenal one literally got video package a week prior and is returning next week. That's all the hype he needs. 1 week prior. I'm good. I'm like that.
And guess who wasn't even on the show this week?
Vinci and Apollo. And we also haven't seen Corbin as well.
Yeah.
Well, I mean that's Corbin, but yeah. So with AJ Styles coming back, especially coming back to SmackDown, where do you guys see him fitting in? Because like that's one thing I've been trying to like think about ever
The
since
US
seeing
title.
that video package tonight. Oh, okay. So you think he's gonna run back with LA Knight with it?
Correct. I feel like he could come back with LA because remember he went across the world for the Elimination Chamber, I believe it was.
He
or
did.
or I believe it was some other PLE. So hey, you used to have feud with LA Knight. With the Bloodline, I feel like it'll be random if he comes right now, because right now for next week, perfect timing for anybody who's unaware. Next week, Friday, will be episode 71, and then that following day will be episode 72, because we're also covering Bloodbath. Wait, Bloodbath? Bad Blood. I don't know why I said Bloodbath. Are we having a witchcraft? Probably Agatha all along. I don't know.
We
probably-
might. We might.
We might, yeah.
It is gonna be spooky month. It's gonna be spooky month. So
It is Halloween month next week, or probably something with Cardi B. It's crazy. We didn't even talk about that in our news. The Cardi B SummerSlam that's happening next week with the announcement from next year. The 2-night event.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, Bad
so
Blood.
don't worry, I'll be getting tickets. So
Oh yeah, we're going
We'll be
definitely.
in
But
Jersey.
but
we'll be in Jersey.
AJ Styles coming here for the Bloodline is like it would be a weird timing. I don't know how will his story connect. Maybe going after Cody that night or something. Who knows? But I feel like it will make sense of the current stories that's going on. The U.S. title scene is the most probable. But how would he fit himself in with what's going on with Carmelo and Andrade? So it's very interesting to see where he will go for that. Because I don't see him going for the tag titles. I don't see him starting a random feud. So those are my quick thoughts. How about you, Dropping Watkins? What did you guys think about this? As I know you guys are more of the bigger fan of AJ Styles than me.
So personally, I can't really see him getting involved at the U.S. title scene because you already have a program going on of LA Knight, Andrade, and Carmelo. So for him to insert himself into that, it really wouldn't fit. Same with Bloodline, especially with what they're building now. AJ Styles doesn't really factor into that because you have a program going on of Randy, KO, Cody, Solo, Sikoa, just a whole bunch of shit scattered everywhere. So he doesn't really fit into that. I'm starting to think maybe it might lean into the fact that he's been very vocal that he's coming to a point where he wants to wrap up his career, and this is for reals this time. So I'm wondering if hypothetically we have a segment next week where he's talking about how things are changing and it's pretty much coming to like the end of his career. That's how I could potentially
like one last ride. Has he won the World Heavyweight title?
He's won it twice.
In the previous? Okay, the World Heavyweight title.
Yeah,
he's a 2-time WWE champion.
Okay, so
WWE.
He's World Heavyweight
he's a
title
Grand Slam champion.
Oh, he is a Grand Slam. Oh, I was unaware.
Yeah.
Apologies.
I mean, like
I didn't know AJ Styles had a repertoire like that. Okay, cool. My apologies. Shit.
Yeah, so
he's fucking AJ Styles.
I didn't know. I didn't know he got game like that. I didn't know he was the G that had a Grand Slam. All right.
Yeah. So I could see something like that. I mean, if it's a segment with a mic, at least it gives us a good indication of exactly what sort of direction he's going now, because he doesn't really fit in with any ongoing feuds. And I definitely, and I mean definitely, and he probably won't happen, I definitely do not want to see anything with Giovanni Vinci, because AJ Styles is above that. So I'm just gonna wait if it's a segment and he grabs a mic or something, because I can't really think of anything that stands out where it screams AJ Styles to throw himself in there. It's hard to really say.
I'm not fully against the U.S. title thing, but not right away. I think after like LA Knight, Carmelo, and Andrade, after they're done cooking here, and whoever ends up on top, has the title, and then kind of finishes off with whoever they're with, then, once that whole scene is done, I could see him entering the picture then. But honestly, and I want you guys to hear me out on this, he'll be back on SmackDown next week. I could see him doing a stint in NXT, and the reason I say that is
because of OC?
The beginning of November, NXT is gonna be on Wednesday because of the election.
Oh shit!
They're gonna be competing with AEW that night.
Oh really?
Yeah, they're gonna be competing with AEW that night because they're moving NXT because of like the whole election coverage and all that. So they're moving NXT to Wednesday night that week. So I could honestly see AJ pulling up there and doing something, and whether he wins something or loses something, either way, he's probably gonna be in there. So he might do a stint in NXT for a little bit. Which, I mean, that's something new. I mean, he's gone down there like a couple times, I think, from what I remember, but not really done too much down there. Plus, the other thing too down there, and I don't remember how often they've been on there, but the OC have been on NXT for a bit.
Yeah.
So there's always that too, but that's kind of where I'm at with it, because like AJ's at the point of his career where it's just like he could basically do anything and he'll be fine. Whether he wins or loses, he'll be fine, because his stock, his resume is pretty damn good. That he's almost bulletproof basically.
Yep.
But hey, you know what? We had a lot to chat about. We had a lot to talk about. We had a lot of stuff that we needed to grapple this week with, and hopefully you guys enjoyed putting that this week in a headlock and doing whatever moves you had to do with it. So yeah, that's basically that little segment. We're gonna go on now to talking about what you guys all came here to really listen to and
show
kind of
itself.
dive into.
Yep. Thank you for the timestamp.
main event.
Thank
God for timestamps.
Yes, chat. If you want to know everything that happens to the show, there will always be a timestamp down in the description below for the grappling week, for the headline story, the mid card, and what the conversation going through each of those segments. Additionally, if you want us to do another show, maybe the next show might be called Grappling with the Week. We just need to get more audience, more coverage, meaning more comments. If you let us know if you guys want this extra type of content, maybe it could be a Patreon version, exclusive members. You know, it would be nice to have information feedback. But hey, without me doing a little nice plug-in type of segue, back to the host to segue for the headline story.
Oh man, maybe we could have our own little TNT segment. Who knows? Maybe we'll see. But yeah, we're going to be talking about SmackDown tonight. Oh, the good old glorious show that is SmackDown. Man, I love the blue brand so freaking much. I love SmackDown. Oh man, but we're going to talk about our headline story because hey, our world champion, he doesn't have a contender. So let's just team up with our old buddy Roman Reigns against his family and all that. So we're continuing that whole story. We're continuing the build towards next week, towards this tag team match at Bad Blood. And I mean, KO, he's still very, very pissed off at Cody, but yeah, he's very salty. But like we had some stuff. We had a little bit of seeds planted, a little bit of a, I don't want to say character development, more like story development, I guess. But yeah, so the whole crux of all this is our main event match, which was RKO. So Randy Orton's back now. Huzzah. RKO took on Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. Match was great. Match was awesome. But the whole build up throughout the night is just the crux of it all. So how'd you guys feel about this beginning segment with like Randy coming out wanting an explanation from Cody?
Yeah.
And then just all the interruptions that happened throughout. Vash, I'm going to start with you with this.
I appreciate it. Thank you for starting with me first, because I was like, can I start first? I haven't been on the show for 2 weeks to get my thoughts. I would like to go first talking about the bloodline stuff. It's been a while.
Don't worry. I see Randy behind you. Randy's behind you. He's going to give you an RKO. And...
Don't you see these pecs? These pecs are humongous. I keep staring down my screen. I'm like, damn, like this is front and center, and then I've Jacob Fatu just so small right here, like, yeah. I'm about to say, sir, that's the wrong one. That's Tamatonga. I'm about to say that's the wrong one.
Wow, you're Samoanist, aren't you?
But jokes aside, what do you want to talk about? I love this man, how he comes out all the time with the most smile, the biggest face. He's like, what's up, guys? What's up, Oklahoma? And most important, you, Randy, how you doing? What do you guys want to talk about? Like, I just thought, like, man, Cody, you know he brought you out here, but he is a legend killer. And I love how you even said, like, yeah, boy, you even will RKO your own friend. Because you even have RKO our own boss. Big Aldis, and you still even pay him an extra $500K or $500 for the extra arcade that you still haven't done so. I'm still keeping tabs, Randy. Trust me, I'm aware. So when it happens, I'll be like, I've been waiting for that one. I've been waiting for that next one, so I know. So I love how Cody was the most smileless, happy little camper, and I felt bad for KO as well. This man came out ready to speak in the mic. Once he grabbed the mic, he literally, and then boom, Solo Sikoa songs, and I'm like, bro, why did you have to come out? I was ready to hear some drama happen. Like, I felt like I was watching a novella. I was waiting for the juice to come out. I was waiting for the sweet bullshit that's about to come out from KO to be like, all right, so this is how I feel. And this man KO, he knows how to give his frustration very well through the camera, through the acting. He knows how to give his, like, remember last time when it was KO and Sammy wearing the tag titles, and KO had a frustration about Imperium or other people being in his personal space, and our boy Sammy always had to be like the one to, get him concentrate. Like, hey man, take it easy, calm down, do your thing. So I love that very much. How that's KO's character continue on about his frustration and his anger management type of aspect, because even what happened in the backstage, I'm gonna save it for later, but I love how that continues to be his personality, because even in the ring, he told Cody, hey, no offense, but you got your match with your guy at your PLE that we're not even involved, so you're good. It's gonna be me and my boy, the RKO squad, and versus you and your same opponent that you're having next week. We're gonna verse him tonight.
Yeah.
I'm like, boy, you got the balls to even say, hey, no offense. When anybody say no offense, that's still offense. And also, that's like adding an extra, like extra stab in the back. Like, yeah, bitch, no offense, but I'm gonna still stab you. That's what I felt like.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Look, my whole thing with this part of the segment, like, it was Solo, because like Solo comes out, he's just like, he puts down Randy and Kevin, and he's just like, oh yeah, Cody had to go for Roman because you guys are, ass at what you do. You guys fail at everything. It's just like, bruh, hold on. Bruh, do you remember SummerSlam? Like, they did their jobs at SummerSlam. They took care of the bloodline. It's like, what are you even talking about? Like, it could be like the delusional heel kind of thing. Yeah, cool, neat. But it's like, come on,
Question:
come on.
Did this
come on,
remind
man.
anybody when Gunther was telling Randy the type of fake accomplishments that he didn't do, or his life was meaning kind of being meaningless? That's what it felt like from Solo when he was talking out of his ass. It's like,
Kinda. Yeah.
it felt like,
I could see where you're coming at with that. Yeah.
yeah, it kind of felt like he was trying to throw this or add fuel to the fire, but instead of adding fuel, it just felt like he was trying to throw water to a fire that's already growing in the forest, but you're just not doing shit to it.
Mhm.
That's what I felt like Solo was doing. Like, my guy, you're like an ant talking to like a Jurassic Park.
But Jurassic Park. Oh my goodness. Oh man. But like, yeah. So Solo kind of runs them down again. We get the tag team match for the end of the night. But Drop, what'd you think about this segment at the beginning with like this promo work? And I mean, Cody did give his reasoning. He didn't really tell a lie, because he's just like, Roman. He gave me his word. Like, he's given me his word throughout this whole time. He said, I'm going to do whatever it takes to keep this. I'm going to do whatever it takes to, keep you down. And like, Roman didn't lie. And Cody's just like, yeah, I will take his word for it. So how did you feel about, like, I guess Cody's reasoning for teaming up with Roman?
So like, one of the things I was looking forward to the most was Randy's response to this, because as soon as I saw Randy come out, I'm like, okay, maybe this is going to get intense, because I know Randy to be this kind of person that's always upfront when it comes to his feelings. Like, he's not really afraid to speak what's on his mind. So I was actually kind of surprised with the approach that he took it, because I thought it was going to be not exactly the same situation as KO, but he was probably going to be like more upfront with Cody, considering the damage that the bloodline did to him when they took 18 months away from his career. So I thought it was going to be one of those things where he's like, okay, why are you teaming with this guy? You do realize that they're responsible for me being off the shelf for 18 months. That's where I thought the direction it was going to go down. So it was pretty interesting to see the sort of direction that they were going with this. And when it came to Cody's initial response, I thought it was a good response. I mean, he's not wrong, because the things that Roman did say to him, he stuck through with it. Like how Cody mentioned how he wouldn't show his face after he beat him. Roman went away for months. You're talking about like this shit taking place in April, and here he is coming back in August. I mean, he kept his word of literally everything that Cody said. So the reasoning that Roman gave Cody, I know, is needed because a lot of people are wondering online. I've seen people say, what is the reason Cody has? He said his reason. It made sense, so I understand why he's deciding to put him in this spot with Roman for the time being. And I understand, when KO came out there, a lot of people wanted to hear what he was going to say. But I feel like that's the big part of it, is the fact that they keep teasing it because it's going to be something big.
Yeah.
Maybe we, which is also a part of programming, which is a very useful skill because you're going to get the three of us wanting to tune in next week to see what happens. You'll leave a lot of those questions where it's like, okay, they tease something. Is the payoff next week? Are we going to finally see it? Oh, it didn't happen this week. Is it going to happen this week? It just
It's
gets
like the famous line in anime. Stay tuned for the next episode in WWE Smackdown.
Next time on Dragon's Ball.
Yeah. So it gets everybody like engaged to see what's going to happen next. So I did like that. And I also like how Solo was adding fuel to the fire because a lot of us watch programming, especially when it comes to wrestling, because of the drama. So I like how he was trying to get into their heads when it came to like really starting to make them think, even though it didn't really work, but just really starting to make them think, like, let's say if it did happen, maybe he has a point, or something along the lines of this, because we know this is just building to a bigger story, which I'm super excited in. And I did actually mention this to Watkins before we went on air when we were preparing everything from the stream. I personally feel like this could potentially be a red herring when it comes to Kevin Owens, because Kevin Owens is very good at displaying his emotions when it comes to building tension whenever he's being put into certain situations, when it comes to a certain storyline that's being told. So for all we know, this could be a red herring for the actual heel turn that we might be getting from Randy Orton, because we know the famous saying, oh shit, that RKO is going to come out of nowhere. So I feel like what they're trying to do, they're trying to use Kevin Owens as a leadway to that, where we see all of this tension being built up with them. Let's say hypothetically, we get to the point where Cody and KO are just screaming at each other's faces, and then all of a sudden, Randy just spins Cody around. It gives him an RKO when he least expects it, because that's also the part of being a predator when you're trying to look for your prey. You watch them with their every move to make sure that you're crawling closer and closer. Like people, I've seen those videos online when it comes to animals in Africa trying to hunt down other animals. You just see them hiding in the grass and they're just waiting to pounce on them and get them. That's kind of like Randy Orton, where it's like you have this distraction, and then in order to get that big pop that people want, because when he does hit that RKO, it's going to hit like crack. It's going to be unexpected. It's going to be a turning point in the story. So I feel like this was what they could potentially be doing, because I even mentioned, I think I just find it kind of odd that like Randy's taking a different approach with this, because you would expect him to be just like KO, but he's not. He's like, I wanted you out here for this match. I wanted you to do this or that. And that's the big part about like setting up a red herring for people to lead into that person, because it's not just catching Cody off guard, it's supposed to be catching us off guard as well when it eventually happens. And people know when Randy hits RKOs in his matches, it happens when it's least expected. But when it comes to like something between this storyline and you just see it come out of nowhere, it's like it just randomly pops up on the camera's not catching it. It's like, holy shit, like what's going on here?
Well, it's like, so you had mentioned it too with like Randy being the predator and all that. So like, that makes sense. So like when you look at both like Randy's character and Kevin's character, especially right now. So it's like Kevin's character, and I had mentioned this too when we were talking before the stream. It's like Kevin's character makes sense, because like when you look back, like the time when Jay went to Raw and everybody was all buddy with him, and he was just like, I get it, you guys, but I just can't do this. It's a very similar idea here, where it's just like, And I think when he finally is able to talk to Cody about it, he's probably going to say something similar. It's going to be like, I get it. I just can't get behind it, So I'm sorry. I need to step away from this. But like with Randy, and I'm glad you brought up too the whole 18-month thing as well, because I'm sure that's eating at Randy Orton too, because because of all that, at least in kayfabe, Randy had to get back surgery because of that. He had to take off like a year and a half of his career for all of that. And part of that too, he could tie into with the story being like, he's a little more cautious now. And because of being a little more cautious, it's leading him to take less risk and kind of preventing him from winning big championship matches like the one against Gunther that he just had, you know. So like there's a good built-in story there, and especially with like the character work too, like it would make sense from all angles and from each, person involved for something like this to happen, because like it could be something where it's like, oh, there's a big argument between KO and Cody, and then Orton just kind of again comes out of nowhere and does the RKO and all that. But it's like it makes sense, and I'm glad you said something too, because like it was a passing thought I had before we started. So I'm glad like there are other people that had a similar mindset with it, where like KO's the red herring and all that. But yeah, like I'm enjoying this build. This is like a slow burn with whatever they're going to be doing with KO
Right?
and Randy
Burn,
and all that. Because like
I don't mind it. Like I don't mind the slow burn.
I don't either.
It's something that it's good that when things are pulled by the trigger, but then some things are taking its time, and also they're trying to probably Triple H is doing what he's doing, probably seeing the temperature, how the audience is. Are they liking this? Do they want KO to go turn? Like, how is all this merchandise? And even in the past couple months, when Randy has done his behind the scenes interviews for the PLEs, he even has said that he's been enjoying this run as babyface, where he doesn't have to be the crazy Viper, the legend killer. Like, he just could just be himself. So he also has been enjoying this type of rap for him as a character.
Yeah, and I get that too. It's just like Randy also works so much better as a heel. Like he works so much better as a heel. But like into the match itself with like, Solo and Jacob against RKO, like the match itself was fine. It was pretty good. There were some fun spots too, where like I like how Orton's little backdrop suplex onto the announce table. I like how Michael Cole kind of called that a vintage Orton, and I'm just sitting there thinking, and I kind of put it in our notes too. I'm just like, oh, there's the ringside vintage Orton. So I'm probably gonna call it that from now on with the little back suplex on there. But like the fact he did it to Jacob the first time, and Jacob, again, just like he did with the DDT, just no-sold it. It was just like, and then Orton just hits like 3 of them after that, like in a row.
And then after that, he was a battleground solo and everything, which I'm like, still. I love how Randy was frustrated. Like, bro, I'm taking a big gun like this, and you're going to get up because nothing. Ha! He just 1, 2, 3. He just kept going at it, and I could tell the frustration of Randy, and it just showed very well. I love how KO and Jacob just started to brawl. Like, I really want to see them actually have a singles match. By the way, did anybody catch the commentary? I'm gonna just bring it up now. I'm not sure if anybody caught it, but when Michael Cole said KO hasn't pinned any of the Bloodline in the past 4 years.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and take a look at that.
That got me sad if that's actually true, because he hasn't beat Roman. He hasn't beaten the Usos. He hasn't beaten Sami Zayn in the matches since he's tagging.
Well, he has. I mean, technically he has beaten the Usos, but that's why I'm glad. Like Michael Cole pointed out, like
as a singles,
he like Kevin. Well, yeah, not only that, but like Kevin's never pinned any of like the Bloodline.
Yeah,
like he's never like gone over on them like that. Which that's why I have to like go back and check it out, because it's like, okay, is that true? Is that factual? Or is this WWE trying to, rewrite history and all that?
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was gonna bring that up too because it's like, oh, that's actually intriguing, Michael Cole.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, again, the action was fine. The action was fun. Now, nearing the end of the match, though, obviously, we get the Tamatonga and Tonga Loa coming out for the interference, and Cody comes out because, like, earlier in the night, we saw that he tried to talk to Kevin beforehand, but Kevin, he wanted to focus more on the match. But, like, Randy stopped him and was just like, hey, don't worry, just I want you to come out and help us because you know the numbers game and all that. But like thinking about that statement now and like saying it out loud after we had all talked about the possible red herring and all that, I'm wondering if that was part of Randy's plan.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking because he's trying to distract everybody from what's really going on. Like he's trying to put it to a point where it's like, KL, just take a chill pill. I was the one doing this and that because he's trying to. I think it's not just Cody he's trying to catch off guard. He's also trying to catch off KO as well. So he's pretty
Yeah.
much just being the Randy that they know him to be. But behind closed doors, he has this all mapped up in his head when it comes to exactly like how he's going to structure this kind of thing. And when it comes to Randy, he's always been that kind of person where he maps everything out when it comes to how he wants to make an impact, and that's something that's definitely needed when it comes to telling a very very propelling story that gets you like really invested in, where it's gonna be like, you know what, Randy's trying to be mature about the situation. You know what, Randy's right. KL needs to chill. Cody needs to chill. They just need to take some time away from each other, figure out what's going on, and then they could just, talk about everything afterwards and figure out exactly how they're going to get on the same page again. I just feel like he's trying to be that figure to bring everybody together, when in reality, not just the stuff, which in reality, in his head, he's like, they took me out for 18 months. I haven't won a match since I came back. I haven't held a title in a long time. One of my boys is a complete idiot for teaming up with the guy that is responsible for all this shit. So it's like it's all mapped up in his head, and I feel like I mentioned earlier, they're just doing it for a reason, just so it hits harder instead of them arguing in the ring and then he hits the RKO. Like they want it to actually come in a moment where people are like, wow. Like the whole statement itself, when it says it comes out of nowhere, like it legit came out of nowhere.
I love how you brought that up because was it me or did anybody else question when Cody called him the Legend Killer? Like, why would he call Randy the Legend Killer in the ring? Like that felt like a setup of like, hey, he's the next one that's about to get right on RKO. Like, so it felt like story wise, it made sense. It felt like like an Easter egg of what could be happening that Randy's playing all of us.
Yeah,
I think the thing with me is like it's weird for Randy to be the one to calm people down, to be try to be the level-headed one. Like, see, that's the thing. It's like the more we talk about it, the more we dissect this, it's like
He's the voice of reason.
I'm starting to see the picture. I'm starting to see like the plan of Orton trying to like break all of this up and trying to like put into perspective, especially for Cody to be like, hey, this is stupid what you're doing. Stupid, stupid, stupid. Like that whole thing.
I remember
And
that.
like the fact that it's kind of working out the way he's planning to with like Jacob Fatu, like this might have been an accident. Like it might have been one of those things where it's just like, oh, this is, yes, my plan is going well, but now it's going really well. Because like so when Cody comes out, for the save and all that, Jacob Fatu, he attacks Cody, but then he throws him into the ring and into the ref. So like, because KO had the match won, like he hit the stunner on Solo. He had Solo down for the 3 count, but the ref couldn't get over there because he got hit by a flying Cody.
Yeah, I like how he
So
did
it's
that
like
too, to just add more fuel to the fire, where it's like I could have just did it myself, but no, I'm gonna throw Cody in here just to have them get even more pissed off at each other.
Yeah. And KO was pissed. Like he was in Cody's face, like shoving him, like getting like face to face, like forehead to forehead and all that. Like he was livid. And again, like after Randy calmed him down, he gave Cody a hug and all that, and like SmackDown went off the air on all that. So like that's why again, like just the character work going on here, I can see, I'm starting to kind of go into that camp that thinks like this is all part of Randy's plan.
Me no lie,
Like all part of Keikaku. He's pulling an Aizen right now. Like, and I love that. I am eating that up.
I thought Randy was gonna
more.
RKO Cody when they hug each other.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna get the whole like title card thing and then an RKO. I thought we were gonna do that little move.
Yeah. I'm glad they're waiting on it though, because
Oh,
that's
man.
like a big feud. You need to pay off properly. You can't really rush into it, because that's pretty much like a student and teacher feud that has a lot of history,
Yeah.
and that they need to take their time on the burner with.
That they do. But any other thoughts on our headline story going into Bad Blood and all that?
I don't.
No.
None from the people that are above me. Okay, well, we're gonna move on now because again, our world champion, he's dealing with the headline, he's dealing with the bloodline, he's dealing with all the lines going forward as he walks that tightrope. We're gonna go ahead to our mid-card stories. These are all the other stories that we have going on SmackDown. We're gonna start off by finding out a #1 contender for our women's championship. We have Bayley taking on Naomi, and I'm just gonna throw this out there. This might have been the best Naomi's looked since she's come back to the company.
Yeah, especially when it comes to like an actual match where she's just one-on-one with somebody instead of like a tag team match or whatever she's inserting herself into. Like this definitely was a very good match to just showcase her skills and for people to get familiar if they aren't already, just showing like how talented Naomi is. And I really liked how this match showcased exactly like, yeah, Naomi can actually go places. She can become a champion in the company. She can lead a division, and that's something I can take out of this match and be very proud of.
Oh yeah, I mean, because that's the thing. It's like she started the match with like a bunch of these quick roll-ups, and like her offense too tonight was just she turned it up another level. Like she went up, she turned another gear. Whatever terminology you want to use for all that, but like she was on it tonight, and I think there is one nitpick I have about it, and I'm glad they didn't really dwell on it too much. It's this whole thing, and Drop, I'm sure you can remember this whole storyline too. It's this whole thing with like Bayley, quote unquote, not pulling the trigger on somebody or like not being an ass to somebody. So the reason I pulled that up is because like way back in the day, what it was like 2016, 17, maybe 18. There was a fun little feud between Bayley and Alexa Bliss. And they had a match at Extreme Rule pay-per-view where it was a kendo stick on a pole match.
Oh yeah,
And the whole crux of the story is, Bayley can't find that killer instinct. Bayley can't use a weapon. She can't, capitalize on that. And that was a story that like went nowhere because she, from what I remember, she had the kendo stick and she still didn't do it even during the match. And then she ended up losing. And like that storyline almost killed her character. Because it's like, how do you do that with somebody who's a freaking wrestler? Like, part of wrestling is beating up your opponent until you can either make them tap out or put them down for a 3 count. So it's like, Bayley herself starts this match not doing much to Naomi. So it's like, why? And like, even commentary is just like, she doesn't want to hurt her friend. I'm like, I'm sitting here thinking, come on, let's not do this story. Let's not walk down this path again.
Yeah,
I am glad though that
we did the story
a
couple weeks ago with KO and Cody.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
Yeah,
did.
exactly.
And,
So
and,
it's
and
like,
and it's like the thing
yeah.
is like when you get into a situation like this, especially when the championship is on the line, you can have that proper
Hmm.
sportsmanship, but you also have to
Yeah.
think about yourself in that situation where you're like, I really want this title, so I'm willing to do anything to
Hmm.
get to this title, even if it means take it out my friend. Like, yeah, this is something that we're both striving for. I mean, that's something that every woman in that division should be striving for, is to hold that title,
Yeah.
because they know they're the leader of that division. They know that they stand out the most than everybody else in that division. Just like how Liv is, she stands out the most on Raw, and how Nia stands out the most on SmackDown, because they have the top
Hmm.
prize that everybody should be fighting for. So, Bayley, like, she shouldn't be afraid to really, do things like this, because
Yeah.
you want your rematch. You were very vocal about it when you came back to confront Nia Jax about it. So you should be like, you know what? I'm sorry, things are
Hmm.
going this way, but you gotta keep in mind we're both here for the exact reason we want that title. So it's like I definitely
Yeah.
understand where you're coming with that, because it's just something that really isn't needed.
Exactly. And I'm glad too that they kind of acknowledged it too later on in the night, where it's like, okay, um hey Naomi, I'm sorry about all this, but like Naomi, like you just said, literally acknowledged, no, we're in this competition. We're wrestlers. We should be striving to be the best. Just, you know, when you win that title, make sure you pay it forward, because I will be coming for you. So I'm glad they at least acknowledged all that. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I thought the match was really good. Now, throughout the match, and I'm sure we're not the only ones who thought this, uh, we thought we were going to be leading towards a triple threat at Bad Blood with Naomi, Bayley, and
Yeah.
Nia. But I mean, Bayley again, and I like how I think it was Corey Graves on commentary. He's just like, Bayley is showing the ultimate respect to Naomi, because like she didn't just go for the pin after doing the Bayley to belly suplex. She did that and then did the elbow drop to
Yeah, elbow
make
drop.
like
Yep.
that exclamation point. Yeah, to like to really show that, hey, I know I need more to beat you. So I like how they put Naomi over that way too on commentary.
Yeah.
Um,
I also kind of like, now after looking at it, that we didn't get a triple threat match, because
mhm,
that's just the mentality we've had with the old regime, where it's like they do one thing one week and then they do the exact opposite the next week, where it's like,
yeah,
okay, this week it made sense just to keep things the way it is. You could have easily made a triple threat out of the match just because of the result of this match. But then, like, you know what? We'll do a singles match next week. But then you get the exact same result from the previous week. So I like how they just stuck to their guns, and they were like, okay, we want a solid one-on-one match. So I like how,
yeah,
we got Bayley being factored into there, because I mean, she has a case, because whenever you lose that title, you should automatically get your title rematch to begin with. So I mean, she didn't really need to earn it.
mhm,
She could have just asked for it, because that's how it's always played. But
yeah,
for terms of story, I'm glad they went down this direction, because could Tiffany have done this? Yes, but at the same time, I
mhm,
feel like they're building into a bigger payoff, because one of the things that we did see before this is the fact that Nia Jax was absolutely livid because of what happened next week, because she was honestly hoping that she could have pinned either Bayley or Naomi, and they would have been off of SmackDown, and they were shipped off fast to Raw. But
yeah,
because of what happened last week and how Tiffany did that swanton on her and just really brought Nia to the point where she was in that predicament to begin with, and she was actually getting physical for. It's not like she was yelling at her in her face and stuff.
big
She was like
choked
grabbing
her.
her throat. She was like threatening her. She's like, "Oh, if this ever happens again, it's gonna be on you." And I like how there's a, like I said before, I like how there's a proper story, because I sometimes felt like in the past we were just focusing on one champion when
So
it came to the women's division, when it came to their story. But I like how with Tiffany we're actually slowly building this, and I do feel like the payoff is going to be at Bad Blood. I feel like that's when Tiffany's gonna make the move, because you have to strike when the iron's hot, and the iron is getting to the point where it's like, you know what, I could see the payoff being at Bad Blood, and it also factors into the name because that's like Tiffany getting revenge on the school bully constantly pushing her into lockers, and then the nerd stands up to the bully. It's like, I'm tired of your shit, and they pretty much just knock out the guy and get cheered towards the end of the movie. Like, I feel like Tiffany's
Yeah.
pretty much in that predicament where she's going to just screw over Naya to a point where she's just gonna have this biggest smug on her face. Naya could be on the ground, and Tiffany could be standing tall over her, saying, "You had this coming. You had this coming." And I like how there's a proper story with this, which is definitely needed within the women's division. Like, more depth that's welcome instead of always having it with the men all the time.
And we do keep getting more of that too. Like, and I mean, we'll talk about the match later on with, you know, some other people that don't have titles. And I mean,
Yeah.
I got a good fun take with that too. But it's like, yeah, I'm happy with where things are going with this. I think it is getting to the time where Tiffany should cash in, and whether she does or not next week at Bad Blood, I mean, we'll have to wait and see with that. But like,
Yeah.
or you know, maybe we'll let it simmer some more. Who knows? But because that's the other thing. It's like, I know when we were going into Money in the Bank this year, you know, obviously we were predicting Tiffany to win, and we were saying that they could use that as a merchandising thing with her with a new briefcase.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen shit. I haven't seen anything with like any new briefcase merch for anybody. Because like, hell, I think she had the briefcase last week. I don't really recall. You know, she definitely didn't have it this week. She wasn't carrying it around this week. You
Yeah.
know, like, what are we doing with that part? Like the physical aspect of it. You know, hell, there wasn't. Was there even a mention of her being Money in the Bank?
Yes, it
this
was.
week, today. Okay, all
It
right.
was. It was in the title card. It was in the lower third.
Okay.
On the left, it had Tiffany Stratton, Miss Money in the Bank, and then it had Naya as queen and also champion.
Okay. All right.
But
Good.
I have a
All
question
right.
for you
Good.
guys.
So they at least acknowledge it.
So you guys broke down the match. You guys broke down everything well. I don't need to repeat anything that haven't been said. I would say it was interesting camera shot that they ended with Tiffany showing from being scared, from
Oh yeah,
getting
like
choke off from Nia, and then going like, "All right, bitch, I'm gonna take you down," type of face. Like, "All right, it's my turn now. I'm gonna take my revenge," type of vibe. So I really am curious to see where that leads to.
mhm.
I agree with what Watkins said, that this was one of the best matches for Naomi since her return from the Royal Rumble. If any reminder for you guys, she's been here since the Royal Rumble return of January 2024. So it's been a couple of months already. Sorry, not a couple. It's been several months already. So we have had some time
Yeah.
with it. Anybody that hasn't followed Naomi, please go follow her on her Twitter, because she's been posting for people to choose which outfit she wore for her Friday Night SmackDown. I would
Oh
say I
really?
was one of the people that voted for the Uno Glow, but it's funny because she asked, she couldn't decide which one to choose the outfit, and the funniest thing that the two outfits were a tie by 50-50. I think like 20,000 people voted. It was just funny how it was still tied, and then Jordan Gray said, "You know, I could be the final vote. I'm gonna text you." So that was hilarious and adorable. So that's quick context about that.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was
That's
adorable.
cool. I
So
like that.
third thing. So I've been seeing online about how Naya reign as a WWE title has been actually better than expected, having story, having some type of substance with the Tiffy
Mhm.
stuff, what happened with Pretty Deadly for the past couple of weeks, and her and
Mhm.
her feud so far with Bayley and the other people that has been interacting with her, like Chelsea Green, Piper Niven, and everyone around her. However, people have said that Nia reign so far is better than Bayley short reign after WrestleMania. Guys, have any thoughts about that, or any quick things that you guys want to comment about that? Because that's one comment I saw on today's version of SmackDown that people say, wow, Nia's reign has been so much better than Bayley and everything. I don't have too much. I cannot really see bad or good yet until I see how Nia reigns, continues. But so far, I get where people's coming from. Because from Bayley, it was more hype than just a good type of rivalry or reign so far. But that's my quick thoughts on that type of comment.
Yeah, and that's kind of something we get with a lot of babyface wins from WrestleMania. It's like they win the big one at Mania, and it's a big, awesome, great moment, and then sometimes the you okay, Sydney? Come on, come up here. Sometimes the reign after that is a little lackluster. And so I can see that argument with like the whole like comparing Bailey and Nia and all that, because Nia's reign kind of does have a little bit more substance to it, you know. But and I mean that's fine because like with Bailey's it was all about the chase and getting to EO and all that. But okay, good. She's just laying down. Sorry, everybody. Sydney was walking around a little bit, and I was like, "Are you okay, girl?" But she's just laying down. Yeah. So I'm not really mad at that take. I get it, but like, yeah, we'll just have to. It's all about how Nia's ends and when it ends, and if it overstays its welcome. Yeah, but don't worry, Vash. I'll give you. Don't worry. I think we pretty much beaten that dead horse. So I'll let you put the fries in the bag here as we move on to Andrade versus Carmelo Hayes, part 6. And this might actually be their best match that they've had. Like that.
Yeah.
That's the thing about SmackDown. SmackDown cooked tonight with the matches. Like, especially this one. Like this one hit. Like it had two picture in pictures, 2 of them.
Yep, it did.
Vash, how happy were you with that? Like, how excited with you? I was gonna say something else because this is episode 69, but I'm just gonna leave it at that as you tell us about how Carmelo gave so many back shots to Andrade.
You still slid that in, right? Didn't you? You just had to give the tip.
He had to. Dude, it was the one picture in picture. He's literally just hitting him, and I'm just like, oh, tonight's 69.
I will say this: it was a great match. It was definitely one of the best matches. I can't wait for us, even to do like a video type of discussion of a tier list to rank the like 6 out of 7 matches out of them. Real quick, random video just top of my head that I thought of that would be a great idea to actually discuss which was the best match, because honestly, part 6 of the series 6 has honestly been great. One of the best matches out of them, I would say, is top 3 out of the 6 so far, from the top of the moment, top of my head. I love how Carmelo, he keeps calling himself that he's him, he's the guy. You know what? If you have the balls to literally go to backstage, look at the guy that you fought and told him put the fries in the bag you wash, but then after that, throw the champion across the crate and literally just be like, I'm gonna see you in the ring, and literally walk out, hit your music, which, oh my god, the camera shot that I should have followed him. I feel like Carmelo had it to do some type of it was been a beautiful fucking transition. Production team, you could have followed Triple H. I know you're listening. I know you probably eavesdropping right now. You could have just literally had the production team follow him, put the camera shot, and lead him into the ring. Oh my god, it would have been a beautiful one-shot type of transition, one way or another. So that would have been awesome. Well, I love how my dude Carmelo like literally just comes in, throws him, goes to the ring, and the match starts and everything. And I appreciate Andrade telling and asking right now, like, yo, you just respected me, because I'm the type of person. I'm a person about respect and honor, even though I was born in the late 90s, in the mid 90s, but I felt like I have that type of chivalry of a knight from back in the 1600s and earlier. So for them to Andrade to have that type of chivalry, the respectful, to shake the hand out of his, hey, we had a great match, respect. I love that Andrade said like, hey, I didn't like what you did last week. You and me got issues, but hey, you didn't have to respect me like that. With the handshake, that's something that's very important. So I felt like that was very key. So I appreciated that from Andrade, and LA Knight vice versa from what happened to the end. But I know that we can save the conversation before we do our end segment for this. But that's my honest, quick thoughts about this involving the start of the match and the start of the segment.
Yeah, and I mean that's the thing. Like this again, this match cooked. Like, and I know it's weird because like back in the day when a very hot match like this, you know, was going on and it ended with like a distraction like this or like part of me almost thought this was gonna end in a DQ and I was gonna be like, oh no, but it didn't. It ended with a distraction, which that's fine, that's cool, that's neat. But like back in the day, this would not have been good. Like a lot of people would have shit on this, you know. But I'm just glad that it's written like these guys and girls are written in ways where it's like even if we do get some of the old tropes that we used to get, it's still pretty dang good, you know.
Oh, yeah.
But Drop, what do you think about all this? You know, Vash put the fries in the bag. I need you to take the fries out of the bag. How'd you feel about this match? The build up for everything, and just like, yeah, just everything overall about this whole Andrade, Carmelo, and LA Knight stuff that we're getting.
So I would probably be in the same spot as you guys when it comes to saying this is probably the best match that we've gotten within their series, because they really like tore each other apart in this match. There were so many crazy spots. Like there was just so many different clips you could have taken out of this match alone when it comes to just how these boys just wanted to kill each other. And I really like how they're doing a series of 7, which is a given at this point.
Yeah.
And I like how this is benefiting both of them. It's showing what these two guys are capable of. It's showing how talented they are in the ring. It's showing how they're a standout in the show, because whenever I watch SmackDown, when it comes to these past 6 matches of Carmelo and Andrade, they're usually like one of the biggest talking points are like, oh my God, give us more, give us more, give us more, because this reminds me of the days where we got Cesaro when he was Cesaro in this company. When we got Cesaro and Sheamus going back and forth
Yep.
over and over and over again.
Oh,
And then the
yeah.
payoff of that is they eventually became a tag team and they were known as the Bar. And it's like they did something that really benefited the both of them. And I like how we're taking a page out of that book and we're doing something with Carmelo and Andrade. And I really like that. And I like how this is pretty much leading into a tied match now. And I feel like the payoff of this is probably going to be Carmelo and LA Knight, I would assume. Unless they do a triple threat match, but it doesn't really make sense to do if it's going to be we're going to get a 7th match, and it's going to be like the final match between each other. I feel like it should be Carmelo and LA Knight, but
Yeah, as I
I
feel
don't
like it's
know. I
gonna
don't
lead
know.
up to. It might happen next Friday, which it makes sense if it does, since it's
Yeah.
the night before a PLE, and we know that's mm, the type of style that Triple H likes to book when it's a Friday Night SmackDown the night before. So if that
Yeah.
is the case, I don't mind it.
Yeah.
Well, like that's the thing. He's already got a pretty stacked SmackDown next week. Like we're getting. I mean, we're not only getting, you know, Naomi versus Tiffy Stratton. We're getting, you know, the return of AJ Styles. We're getting a dumpster match, which, you know, we'll talk about the lead up for in just a little bit. But we're also getting a triple threat ladder match for the tag titles.
Yeah,
Like
that got announced by Nick.
we're gonna have
for the live show.
a pretty stacked one. Yeah, like SmackDown's gonna be. It's gonna be can't miss next week. Like you cannot not watch SmackDown next week. You will be missing
It's a loaded
so
show.
much going on. Oh my gosh, yeah. So it's like putting you know LA Knight, you know, putting like the US triple threat on there. It's not that I'm against it, but like you don't. That might be a little bit too much for next week, you know, like
Yeah, I don't need
because
that.
because that's the thing with like the whole like Carmelo and Andrade part of all this. It's like this story has been crafted so well because like so normally when you get like a best of 7, like a best of 5, best of 7 series or whatever, it's always announced like that. Whereas with Andrade and Carmelo,
It's being
it
cooked
organically happened.
Yes.
Yeah, like it just kind of happened. It happened with, you know, what was it? Yeah, Andrade went over
The
first,
best
and
graphics
then he went.
show too.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like, we're just gonna keep this going because they want to have a series. All right, they just want
Yeah.
to go back and forth, see
We
who's the better man.
we almost
It's
could have
great.
had a best of 3 or best of 5 of AJ Dragunov and Ricochet. They was leading up to that, but we never could have had that
You could,
continue.
I mean, I wouldn't mind that with him and Osprey.
I mean, yeah, that too.
That would be nice, but it's not
We
gonna be
could be
booked
getting
well.
that.
Yeah, like we could get it a well cooked one, but I don't
Yeah.
trust Tony. I don't
No.
trust him. I don't.
We'll see.
But this best of 7 series has been doing very well. I'm very proud of them. Again, the picture-to-picture has been very well consistent. From what I could tell, they choose the match to show which is the picture-to-picture because the next
Yeah.
match we're gonna talk about had no picture-to-picture whatsoever. But
Yeah.
I'm okay if they're gonna choose
Yes.
which one to go with. So
Oh yeah.
it makes sense
can-
if they're gonna choose which one they rather go with for the picture and the content they want to produce with, for the audience to still watch at home that is watching on that's not watching at the live audience. And
Mhm.
one thing I want to say, I love Carmelo fucking acting when he was out in the ring. He saw out at night. The smartest thing he came to do, he like, oh, I'm gonna go back to the ring. Fuck this. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna run my
exactly.
shit.
It's like,
And
nope.
then the way he literally pushed Andrade to LA Knight, and he like, and he was smart. By the way, Carmelo, every time you try to pin him, I love the commentator Michael Cole kept saying like, what does he gotta do next? He keeps giving his all, and Carmelo was doing so good. I'm so proud of Carmelo. I've seen him, not his whole career, but I've seen the end of his career in NXT to where he is now, and it's been such a great stellar opportunity to see this man get better, the hype, the acting, the way he's doing.
Mhm.
But the way he won the match, I love how he came out the ring and just kept looking at both of them like, you see, I'm that guy, I'm that him. He just kept walking out when
Mhm.
fucking Andrade and Elena just giving their little scuffle like, yo, why you gotta do that shit? Why you gotta do? For a second, I thought Andrade was about to turn heel. I thought he was gonna hit Iron Knight. Please tell me I wasn't the only. Like I felt like he was gonna push him. The more
Yeah.
he kept trying to like get annoyed or frustrated at him.
I think the thing too with like Andrade, like I don't know if it would be him turning heel. I think it would be more of him just like being frustrated and all that. Like hey, I'm not feeling this dude. Like and especially with LA Knight like trying to do the handshake this week to try to make peace with Andrade about it all. It's like, all right, come on, man. Come on, man. You know Andrade's not gonna go for that. You kind of pissed him off. And yeah, Andrade, rightfully so, just brushes off the handshake and all that. It's like, yeah, no. I lost respect for you last week. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna falter. I'm not gonna do what you want me to do. No,
Yeah.
I'm gonna like no, forget you, dude. Like I'm not here for it. I'm not here for it at all. But man, again, man, they just. I mean, we could go blow for this match, but honestly, if you watch any match of theirs in this series, besides the first one, definitely watch this one. This one cooked.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it was a nice meal we ate from this.
I was very impressed.
Almost as nice as what Vash is eating.
Oh, so yes, man, his burgers are cooked very well. I just want to say the toast got probably about too toasty for my taste, but it was very well, very cooked. I do want to say
Nice.
I can't wait for WE to put a playlist. Maybe by next month or maybe by November, December, they will put a playlist of all the matches, and I'm like, oh, perfect time. We could watch it and rank them in tier list. Boom. Because we know
Hell
eventually it's
yeah.
gonna happen.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh boy. But anything else to kind of go off, kind of speculate? I know we had mentioned like a possible triple threat, which I mean, we
I hope
could
not.
still get.
I'd rather
but,
first
yeah.
see Carmelo versus LA Knight, see what they cook, and then maybe Andrade interrupts at the end, and then make the next match become a triple threat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that,
man.
let them cook and put the fries in the bag, and let's see what the woman did.
Oh man, but You know, instead of putting fries in a bag, let's put trash in a dumpster because we gotta hype up a dumpster match more than just Chelsea Green training for one. We gotta have Michin taking on Piper Niven. Now this got set up because apparently last week Piper Niven attacked Michin with a trash can
Yeah.
during an interview. So all right, cool, let's have a fight and all that. Apparently Chelsea Green brought a trash can out tonight, and it smelled horrible. Says Michael Cole, but that's neither here nor there. This match was fun. This match is good. The one thing I do want to say, and this is kind of something that like I think it was Natalia brought this up, and this was like months ago too. I enjoy, and I might have said it on this show too. I enjoy the fact that we're getting a women's feud that's not centered around the title.
Oh, that was
Because
Bayley when she was doing the.
okay,
That was Bayley when she was doing the What You Want to Talk About podcast with Cody Rhodes. I believe she was the first
All right.
interview.
that's what it was. Because like, as much you should want to get a title, you should want to get all that, but it's like it's nice to have a title not involved in a feud, and just having it be based off of something else. Which hey, these two don't like each other. Let's has a fight, and has a fight they're going to next week in a dumpster match. Which I like how they're hyping it up too. I appreciate that, and like this is how you build up your women's division. This is how you give your women time, because again, this is a storyline not based around a title. It's not based around like some other like superficial thing. It's just literally just like what happens with the boys. It's two girls who just don't like each other, and again, we got the build up this week with Michin taking on Piper Niven, which again was a fine match. I mean, I really don't have too many notes besides what I just said, and the fact that Michin is probably going to be the first like women's intercontinental or
Oh, the United
women's
States.
US champion.
I would assume so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I
Like,
I
I
go
mean-
for it. By the way, did anybody see that she actually got pop coming out? Crowds want to shake her hand, and crowds were actually really
Yeah.
hype for her. I was so happy. Like I was
Yeah.
chat. I was genuinely the most happiest just for her, because if anybody also don't watch her Twitch streams, she's the most. She also don't like horror, so I love that about her too. Like she also don't like horror, so she also be
But-
screaming watching horror. So I'm like, by the chat, you guys also should follow twitch.tv/AniMa Studio, because my team is gonna make me watch horror, and I'm not a big horror fan. So you guys, if you want to see me scream and then see a different personality of Vash, go check that out. But
Well, don't worry. He's not only going to be watching horror. We're going to be playing horror, but
yes,
that's
we are. But that's
here
or there. Anyway,
I can't wait.
um,
I can't wait.
fuck. October is like so close yet so far.
It's gonna be a
Yeah,
fun
it's
month for
fun.
me too.
Oh yeah, for you, yes, you're known
Oh,
for
yeah.
her. So that's all you, buddy.
Yeah.
That's all you. Yay. Get that away from me. Anyway, so for Michin, being a mid-card champion is well deserved. I'm really happy. I had the most giddy
Yeah.
response of seeing how much she's loved by the audience now, and she's been putting the work. A lot of people say, "Oh, she's getting these matches and everything." This past couple months with Jada Parker, NXT, putting the work on Friday and SmackDown. She was one of the only woman wrestler in the main roster that's going both to work on the main roster and NXT, and we're giving great matches week to week. So a lot of people need to
Yeah.
understand and give respect for what she's been doing. So I'm very happy that if the fans are loving her, she gave a great match with Piper Niven. Is it perfect? No. Is it great to be entertaining? Yes. And what's most important is what Watkins brought up earlier, is a story. That there's actually a story being cooked with Piper Niven, and continue to have Piper Niven in the main roster in the highlight compared to Clash of the Castle. Before that, she wasn't as used, or the Unholy Union. So at least they're being used, story driven, and being up to par with other characters like Chelsea Green, like Michin. They put in the time, so that's one thing I appreciate about it. And
Yeah.
the dumpster fire, I'm really curious of what the fuck this is going to be about next week, and I can't wait to hear the response or see this type of match actually take place. That's one thing I'm really curious about it. And Chelsea Green is
Oh, a
always,
dumpster match?
yeah, it's always a treat.
Pretty much like a casket match, except it's a dumpster.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, Chelsea Green's gonna be in the dumpster, and it's gonna be funny, and it's gonna be.
Oh, yeah.
great. So,
Oh yeah.
I can't wait for that because her just
Gonna look like
knowing
she's
her
gonna look like a
reaction.
hot mess from Impact.
I can't wait. Or Oscar the Grouch, as Corey Graves like to say on commentary.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, but Drop, did you have any thoughts on all this, on like Michin and Piper Niven and just like this whole storyline with Chelsea Green at least?
I'm glad that, like you said, there's an actual like mid card story going on with the girls, which would be even better if there was like a title on the line for them to fight over with the dumpster match.
Yeah.
Because if you could bring stuff like this if you could bring stuff like this to life, then you should be having something that the girls are fighting for. Not necessarily saying that you always need a title on the line, but it's just a cool
Mhm.
concept to introduce, just to showcase that, there's other girls out there that deserve to have something around their waist to be rewarded because of all the
Oh
hard
yeah.
work that they put into it. And Michin, I mean, personally, like Michin or Chelsea Green would probably be like my top two
Best
picks
choice,
when
yep.
it comes to who would
Hmm.
who would have that belt. And I'm honestly hoping that that's something that comes to mind. But I'm really
Question.
excited for this dumpster match. I'm not sure if it's gonna be at the show or it's like they already recorded it or something. I'm not entirely sure.
Oh yeah.
Um,
I'm assuming it's at the show
I have a question
because
for you guys
the
about
yeah.
the title that we're currently discussing of a mid card. Since we know that SmackDown will be moving rumors that are for 3 hours next year in the first quarter, where it's alongside
Mhm.
with Raw, that's will be on Netflix. Do you think by then we'll be introduced with a new mid card title by then in the first quarter of next year, or do you think we'll be getting introduced or having rumors or an announcement by the last quarter of this year, so within the next 3 months?
I'm hoping we get an, some sort of announcement with that,
Mm-hmm.
because it definitely
Mhm.
would fit into that third hour when it comes to like, okay, let's put some time into another story, actually give it some time to
Yeah.
marinate instead of just having it go on for like 2 to 3 minutes. Like, actually give it some good story, because with like Kalani, her she's able to have like a good chunk of time when it comes to the certain stories that's being told with her. So I feel like it's only right to move that on to the main roster and give them some spotlight as well to tell a story. But
Mhm.
I mean, a lot of rumors have been coming up more often surrounding this.
Yeah.
So I would assume maybe towards the end of the year, possibly in January, they could make some sort of announcement with that. Because once it hits January 6th, all the shows are on their new networks. Like, you got
Mhm.
NXT on the CW, SmackDown's already on USA, and then you're officially gonna have Raw on Netflix. So I feel like around I guess I should say like December or January, just to ballpark it there, where you could potentially get something out of that.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm kind of in the same boat. I honestly, the way I'm seeing it, so it all depends on how they're gonna do this, whether they're gonna have like two like separate, like one on each show mid card titles, or if they're just gonna have one
I want
floating, just like
just
the
one. Yeah, just one.
same here. And if they are gonna do just one, I've got an easy way to do it, because they could announce it like, let's say like after War Games, for example. Like if they could announce it after War Games, um, have a tournament, have the finals be on the first Raw of Netflix. Because hey, guess what? There's your market. There's some marketing right there.
True.
Check out Netflix. Check out the first Raw on Netflix. You'll see the finals of the first women's Intercontinental Champion or whatever it ends up being. So that could be a thing. Hey, WWE, there's your free marketing idea. Run with it or do
I don't
something
know.
better with it. I dare you.
I wouldn't be opposed to them putting this Statue of Liberty on that title design either.
I wouldn't either. I mean, that'd be cool. That'd be neat.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like we've been saying, and I'm glad you guys brought up the reaction that Michin's been getting, because like this is how you build up new stars. This is how you build up those on your roster. Just expose them more to your audience. Like, I mean, that's how you get over, just by being out there more. And whether you're winning or losing, as long as you're putting on good matches and engaging with the audience, you will build up more. And again, Michin's been putting in that work, and I think she's going to be rewarded for that in the end.
Unless you like Tegan Knox.
And get injured all the time, but that's neither here nor there. Love you, girl, but you're kind of a glass cannon. But yeah, any other thoughts on this match, on this rivalry that's going to be ending possibly next week?
I wonder what's going to happen next for Michin. I'm excited for her to continue putting the work in. I'm glad that Triple H is having trust in his women division of SmackDown. At least he has more trust in the women division of SmackDown than Monday Night Raw. And can't wait to see what happens with Chelsea Green and what continues to happen for next week. The next couple weeks of October is going to be cooking for the company of WWE, not just NXT, but for the main roster of Raw and SmackDown. So really curious to see what's going to be happening. And congrats for Michin to continue putting the work.
Yeah. All right, good. Well, hey, you know what, everybody? That was SmackDown, and that's basically our show tonight. So we're just gonna kind of go down, give our overall thoughts on SmackDown. Vash, you were already talking. I'm gonna let you keep going. Tell us, what did you think of SmackDown overall tonight?
Look, SmackDown was a good show, even though we spoke for the show for an hour and some change. So hopefully you guys enjoy our discussion of Grappling of the Week. Compared to the SmackDown show, we gave you a good hour of conversation about the new segments. We gave you an hour conversation of SmackDown. It was good. It was condensed. We spoke about the emotions of Cody, how he was coming, had like a neck type of little neck type of fidgety once he heard, like, no offense, Cody, but you have your match, and he was like, okay, my G, I don't agree with what the fuck you just said, but I'm gonna let it slide. I'm not gonna put you hands in the middle of the ring. That's why I felt the hockey that's coming from Cody, from the little neck type of movement of frustration. Like, boy, you just say no offense to me. I'm just, And just saying, I also know how that feels, because I'm the type of person that was back in high school who would tell people, hey, no offense, but can I tell you this? So I know how that feels.
No.
Because I was the
You
vice
were
versa.
one of them.
I was one of them, but also I was one of those people on the receiving ends. So I know how Cody felt, and I know how KO is. So I felt that energy. So KO, I get you, my guy, respect. When you gotta give no offense energy, it's totally understandable. Carmelo versus Andrade, can continue cooking, my guys. You guys have been amazing. If a Series 7, I know we're going to probably have a Series 8, 9, 10 in the future when we ever get to you guys being champion, and then one of you guys try to take out the other. Can't wait to see this relationship build over the years, because I never expected to have a Carmelo versus Andrade type of relationship, type of dynamic that they've been cooking during the ring. So to see this happening live, and to see this type of coverage, I was even telling Wifey that like by next year February, we're gonna be reaching our first year anniversary of Weebs of the Ring. So to know that we're about to come up into that and see what type of storylines we're gonna be seeing next, it's pretty exciting. So overall, great SmackDown show to end the month of September.
Ooh, hell yeah. Love to hear it. Drop, what about you? How'd you think of SmackDown overall this week?
I thought it was a pretty good show, honestly. I mean, the main highlights to me, which a lot of you guys know, I'm very story-heavy guy. I love seeing a lot of story being incorporated in a lot of these feuds that we're getting on the show. So definitely with Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax, I like how, at least with this new regime, we're actually giving not just Rhea and Liv some spotlight to tell their story, but we're also giving Nia Jax some spotlight to tell her story, especially when it comes to her relationship with Tiffany Stratton, which I really do appreciate. Everything with Bloodline, I always look forward to it. Same things that it's going on with Randy, Cody, and KO. I always am super invested in that. They're all perfect storytellers in their own right, so that always delivers every single time. And when it comes to Andrade and Carmelo Hayes, I mean, that's benefiting them to grow as superstars, so that's only going to help them hit a bigger home run in the future when it comes to how their careers could elevate from this level. And for next week, when it comes to Michin and Chelsea Green's match, Honestly, super excited about it. I mean, they hyped it up as being the first women's dumpster match, so I'm glad that they're actually bringing back some old school gimmicks back, because it's always cool
Hmm.
to see a lot more stipulations incorporated in matches besides being a basic one-on-one match and you got to
Oh
pin or
yeah,
submit somebody. But yeah, it was a pretty good show.
yeah, and okay, good. And I guess to
And how
throw
about
my
you? What did you think?
dollar.
What was
Oh,
the entertaining
oh,
for you?
oh,
Was
oh.
SmackDown as good as Raw? Was SmackDown as good as AEW Rampage? Was it good as AEW Grand Slam Dynamite, or was it a snoozer?
Look, look. SmackDown was good, but it wasn't. It wasn't an AEW collision or anything. Nah, just kidding. No. Okay. I thought this SmackDown may have been the best paced SmackDown in a long time, because like nothing really overstayed its welcome. Everything everything really didn't like feel like it was too short either. We got enough of what we needed for tonight. And could more people have been on the show? Yeah, sure. It'd have been nice to see like Giovanni Vinci, for example, like even if it's just like a backstage segment or whatever. Yeah, that would have been nice. But like I thought just what they had to work with, they worked really well with it. And I'm wondering if like some of this had to do with them not being on Fox anymore, because maybe the Fox executives maybe had some say in some things, because like this felt like, and especially last week too, like these past few weeks with SmackDown being back on USA has felt a lot different than when they were on Fox. So
I agree. I see where you're coming
yeah,
from.
yeah. So again, I think we had a very very well paced show tonight. We had what, about four matches going on, which took up each match took up a lot of time.
Yeah.
Like each match at least had one commercial break in it, at least
Yeah.
one. You know, because like with Bayley and Naomi, one commercial break. Carmelo and Andrade had two,
Which
which
makes
had picture in
sense.
picture with them. Yeah, exactly.
And that one
Um,
was, I think, a 10 or 18-minute. No, I think it was a 15-minute match. I think that one, which was still
mhm.
great.
Yeah, because like they were like between the hours and all that. Michin and Piper Niven, which you see that on paper, thinking of the feud and all that, be like, oh, that's just like a 5 minute match, if that. No, they actually went for a good like 10 minutes, I think, or like within 10 minutes. So like again, they had a commercial break, and of course the main event had a commercial break or two. It's like the promo work too was really good. Again, nothing really overstayed its welcome, and we're moving forward to like a really good product going and all that. And I'm actually excited to see what a SmackDown can do with 3 hours. Like I feel like that's a
Yeah.
different vibe than Raw, because like Raw for like the better part of like 10, 15 years maybe has been 3 hours every Monday. With SmackDown, like
Really, it's been
SmackDown's
10
always been a
years?
different beast.
It's been 10 years since we had 3 hours?
Roughly, I want to say
Wow. Shit,
it's
time
at
has
least
flown.
it's at least been 13
I
years.
remember, I remember
I
when
want
I
to
was
say
in high
that.
school when it first got announced. Or I think middle school. Wow.
Mhm.
Wow, time has
Because
flown.
well, that's the thing. They used to do like these super shows on Mondays,
Yeah.
and they would be like special 3 hour Raws, and then all of a sudden Raw just became 3 hours. But that's besides the point. Again, SmackDown I thought was very nicely paced, all that good, wonderful stuff. That it might have been the best SmackDown we've had in a while too, but that's mainly just from like a technical standpoint though. But yeah, so I'm gonna leave it off there. Vash, I'm gonna turn it back to you, because hey, we're very social people. We're very cool guys. We do, we talk on the social medias a lot. We also have our own content and all that stuff. But where exactly can people find anything and everything that we do?
If you like what we do, like I said a couple times during the stream, or if you've seen the cards throughout the stream, we have a Watkins YouTube channel. We have a Drop This Box personal YouTube channel. We have a Roam with a Dot personal YouTube channel. We have other personal YouTube channels of the team down in the description down below. We also have our social media handles, like you see down below: AniMa with Studio, LGD Vash, I Drop This Box, and Watkins MW, and the hashtag Weebs of the Ring when it comes to our production of this show. Weebs of the Ring when it comes to wrestling entertainment content. But then we also got the Anime Lately podcast. We got the Shona Ronin show that's relaunching soon in this quarter of this year. You see, I'm bringing it back to the conversation we had earlier. You see,
Oh,
guys?
look at that. Look at that.
Full circle moment. And other than that, guys, if you want to find us in other type of content, all the description down the links are below. Websites launching also this coming week. Check that out. Stay tuned for that.
Oh, good, perfect.
Good.
Well, before my bladder explodes from everything, I'm gonna hit the outro now. So thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day, whether it's the morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time it is for you. Just thank you for taking time out of your day to listen to the Weebs of the Ring podcast. If you wanted to talk to us about anything or anything and everything, why not do exactly what Vash said? Check out all those descriptions, well, all those things down in the description below. Just remember, we're known as AniMa We Studio on all social media platforms, and that we is, of course, with a 3. And be sure to use the hashtag Weebs of the Ring before, during, or after our shows to talk to us about anything regarding wrestling and all that. We also appreciate the feedback, as, hey, we can only get better with you guys tuning in and letting us know, hey, this worked, and this didn't work. So be sure to let us know all of that. Weebs of the Ring is presented by AniMa We Studio. Thanks again to our production team of Vash, Hawkins, Drop This Box, Rome, and Jokester, as well as special thanks to JB and Abe. Thank you once again, and remember, as always, no stunt grannies were harmed in the recording of this podcast. Have a good night, everybody.
Have a good night, guys.
And a big shout out to Super Duo and Oblivion for telling us that they like the Grappling of the Week and even love for it to be as a show like Weebs of the Ring. So I want a big shout out to them. Thank you guys for letting us know.
Feedback taken. So thank you so much for that.
It is taken. And don't forget, guys, don't forget to put your Kraft Singles cheese on your pancakes. Tell you guys, Micro code.